His statement is so broad, it again raises the same question we are putting forward tonight. Are Mr. Blanche and the Attorney General on the part of an ongoing misuse of the deal?
What's popping? Please come in hitting the like button. Yeah, if I'd have pulled up and the people that was waiting would have matched the likes, I would have picked up where I left off at. But I'm gonna jump right on in. Yeah, because we was going in. I'm gonna pick up right here. We was talking about who really owns America. But let's see what Candace is talking about. Hey, Cynthia. Hey. And tomorrow is the vote. Trump lost that bid to stop the file vote. I mean, but I thought you wanted it. It's just so confusing. You just all over the place. I wonder, does he take his dementia medicine? Hi, Don Gleek. Thank you for the floating hearts. Hi, listen. Yeah, let me get this. I was trying to listen.
Today, a little bit of history for you today.
Oh, shit. Her accent is funny to me. Today, it's a country twang. Hello, hi. A little history for you today. Come on with it. We ready. Let's go.
Was after the public execution of sitting President JFK in
JFK? She starting out like that? Hold on.
1963, that the CIA established Operation Mockingbird. Deep state assassinations require deep state solutions.
Is that how she gonna start? Okay, let's go.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. A little bit of history for you today. It was after the public execution of sitting President JFK in 1963 that the CIA established Operation Mockingbird. Deep state assassinations require deep state solutions. They spent an offensive amount of money to control the press and to control the narrative, to put an end to the public asking common sense questions about what actually transpired on that fateful day in Dallas. To put it simply, the deep state declared a psychological warfare campaign on the people. In effect, their soldiers were the journalists and the writers. Their goal, obviously, to get people to just stop asking questions. To almost criminalize asking questions via methods of gaslighting.
Thank you.
Fast forward to 2025, and they're running the exact same playbook. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight, and they immediately deployed their troops to criminalize asking questions.
Long live
What are you supposed to take from that, everyone?
Yeah, I had planned on doing a little something for Dolph. I got him. I saw Mia with the kids. Long live Dolph. You know, I thought about it. I'm still a little, I learned today that I'm still a little, I still feel some kind of way. I still feel some kind of way. I don't want to say I just feel some type of way. And, yeah. Because, you know, I'm not happy with the outcome. And, I didn't want somebody to try to gloat and brag. So I'll put out something tomorrow. But long live Dolph. Full justice. When I say full justice, I absolutely mean full justice for him. Long live Dolph. I ain't forget about you. I didn't forget.
You know what I mean?
So let me start over because I don't forgot
In
what
effect, their soldiers were the journalists and the writers. Their goal, obviously, to get people to just stop asking
Hey,
questions.
Naturally Norland,
To almost
thank y'all.
criminalize
Thank
asking
y'all.
questions via methods
Thank
of
you
gaslighting.
for the thumbs up.
Fast forward to 2025, and they're running the exact same playbook. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight, and they immediately deployed their troops to criminalize asking questions.
What are you supposed to take from the everyone? You know what I mean? I think the implication was dramatic, and then I think a lot of people reading the tweets would assume that she meant Erica Kirk.
Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she's doing right now.
Post Charlie, there was so much unity, so much excitement, so much resurgence in faith and newfound interest in faith, and that now there is discord, so many distractions, and that is just like Satan, who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He is called the great accuser. He is the sower of discord, the author of confusion.
The reason I haven't waited on things is I'm an eyewitness to events, and they said, don't comment on things because anything you say can mess that up. I don't want to mess up any trial for the person who did this.
That's 1,000% right.
But Candace Owens is well within her rights to suggest certain things and all this, and she has the right to free speech and all that. That's fine. She's right to ask questions. I just think it is hurtful and not helpful when you cross a line to strongly suggest somebody's guilty of something for which you have no evidence.
Y'all do it every day.
Challenge accepted, Frank Turek. Let's go Max today. Welcome back to Candace.
Let's go.
Pastor Rob McCoy, let's not forget him too, because he's the spawn of naval psychological intelligence, psychological campaigns upon the public. And here's what he has to say about matters. Take a listen.
I want to read you a passage out of Romans. It says in Romans 12, 15 and 16, rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another.
The one who let the pedo.
And here's what he has to say about matters. Take a listen.
I want to read you a passage out of Romans. It says in Romans 12, 15 and 16, rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble, and do not be wise in your own opinion. I think that's a fitting verse. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of speculation about Charlie and what he believed and didn't believe, and I just have to tell you, this is not the time for it. It's a time to minister to the family. They have a husband and a father to bury. We have a friend to bury, a brother to bury, a son to bury. And the world is mourning. And this is not the time to get clicks. It's not time to build your empire. It's time to just simply weep with those who weep. And it's time to just humble yourself and not make it all about you. It's about the Lord.
You hear that, Christians? Asking questions is just, it's not about you. I mean, is there anything that they didn't try? You're making money off of this. It's unbiblical. Charlie wouldn't want this. His family is grieving. Not right now. Let's at least wait a couple of weeks. It's going to ruin the case. You'll get into heaven as long as you don't think about it. If you don't think about what happened on 9/10, then you're guaranteed a slot into heaven. You know, I used to really lament the fact that I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Seriously, I hated that I didn't grow up rich. Who didn't, right? Who does not hate if you grow up without a lot, that you weren't just born into the right circumstances? And now I reflect on those feelings, and I wouldn't change a single thing. I am actually so grateful. That's what I want to say today. I am so grateful about where I started my life in St. John's Towers. I look at that building now with such pride. And I am grateful to have not grown up with a silver spoon in my mouth, because it fortified my character and it gave me a lot of common sense. Basic survival skills. It requires gut instinct. And I had to learn at a very young age to read people. I think that's my superpower, actually. Just being able to look at someone and sense danger or sense deceit. I can just look at Rob McCoy, and for me, it's a no. It's obviously a no. Same thing, by the way, I should mention with Steven Crowder. I have never been a fan. He just always gave me the energy of a pathological liar. I trust my gut. I don't trust influencer campaigns. I don't trust celebrities because they're raising their arms and they glitter and shine and they tell me that I should roll up my sleeves and get a vaccine. I don't listen to any of that. I trust my gut instincts, always. And my gut started to tell me that they suddenly began panicking when I discovered the Egyptian planes. They did what we now term a pre-bunking, right? A pre-bunking is when you say something casual and then they send out like a full fleet against you to not even actually debunk you, but they're just so extreme in not debunking you that they even lie about what you said. And that lie tends to actually foreshadow something that they don't want you to know. So I'll give you a perfect example.
But
On
you
October
know
11th,
now-
when I infamously tweeted about the Egyptian military plane that left Provo on the morning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, I got the time zone wrong by a couple of hours. And they completely overreacted. I mean, an account that didn't even exist wrote, oh, the time zone is wrong. Next thing you know, it was trending. And they pretended it had been officially debunked just because the departure time was wrong. But that wasn't even enough for them. They were so alarmed. And I was off air at that time, right? I took a 2-week break. They still found something to scandalize when I wasn't even on air, something that I didn't even say. They sent undercover operatives to sign up for my private book club that I kept on Tuesday. And then they took out a clip of that book club, from that book club, and accused me of accusing Erica of murdering her husband. I mean, they manufactured that claim out of thin air. And then they made it go viral. They sent it out to all the right people, Steven Crowder, right? Everyone suddenly making videos saying that because I said he was betrayed by everyone, obviously what I meant was Erica Kirk murdered her husband. And this was all happening because I mentioned the Egyptian plane. I am certain of it. And so that you can look backward and really see how these psychological campaigns work, I want you to watch this clip of Steven Crowder trying to convince people that despite the words that are coming out of my mouth, they shouldn't listen to what I'm saying. He actually knows what I really meant, which is something that I didn't say. And yeah, here it is. Here's that clip.
But you watch this clip in its entirety, and it seems pretty blatant that she's saying, and people are interpreting it this way, which is also important, that the Trump administration, not whatever it was, we went from underground Jew tunnels, Mossad, the Trump administration killed Charlie Kirk.
Just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock off. Like, they're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's how they sign off after they murder you. They're like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on the nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be on the nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on the 27th, you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys then.
Well, let me first be tactful here and tell you that outrageous claims, and this is an outrageous claim, require outrageous evidence. Of course, as is par for the course, none has been presented. You know who's really close to President Trump, and you know who people are now saying stood to gain? Well, Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk, who has now been put, Candace with that language, with this accusation, has put the wife of Charlie Kirk, And she'll say, that's not what I tried to do. It is. It's the result. Erica Kirk in the crosshairs. There's no middle ground here right now. Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
No matter how many times I watch that clip of me talking about Martin Luther King Boulevard and Charlie Kirk Boulevard, I do not get from that Erica Kirk killed her husband, but that's what they went with. Those were talking points that were delivered to them. They were supposed to go out of the gate with that. The question is why, okay? Retrospectively, that was a clue. They were panicking. They were trying to pretend, me saying that everyone betrayed him, which obviously was not about Erica. It also wasn't about Charlie's mother or Charlie's father or Charlie's children, but they were specifically trying to struggle session that into a slight against Erica rather than more obviously suggesting that people at Turning Point USA betrayed him, which Erica was not an employee of leading up to his death. Why were they doing that? Then, of course, that made me only look further into the Egyptian planes, and I discovered that the planes had been tracking Charlie. We showed you guys this, right? We created this document, and we organized it, SUBND being the blue plane, and then tail number SUBTT being the yellow plane. That seems to have struck even more fear into the nest of mockingbirds. In fact, they sent Mother Mockingbird out, Ben Shapiro, to make the exact same wild allegation out of that I said something specifically about Erica when I had not. Again, I'll ask the question, why Erica? Why didn't Ben on stage say she accused Mikey or Rob McCoy? I've done multiple episodes now on Mikey McCoy, on Rob McCoy, speaking about Andrew Colvett, Alex Clark. Why did they keep going back to Erica? What is it about these Egyptian planes that were making them spiral? Now, I'm going to let you guys know right now that it is difficult to investigate a matter, especially when it involves a person that you know, because there are minor things that I immediately noticed that were off or unlikely that would not have necessarily alarmed the general public. For example, one of the earliest alarms that went off for me was the fact that Terrell Farnsworth, the guy who takes out the SD cards, was there at all. Okay, Terrell does not do college campus events. He doesn't do that. He's at the top of the company. He does the big events, the SAS, the AmFest. He does not do college events. But of course, he told me they were trying something new that day. And it must have been so new that it was over by the next event after Charlie died because he wasn't there again. So he just out of the blue was at this event and then he wasn't, and he secured the SD cards. Okay,
y'all need to
something
get the
that I
likes
noticed
up.
that the rest of the world would not have taken as a concrete fact. It is.
Can y'all double tap the screen on your phone, get the likes up? I'm not finna do this with y'all. I'm tired and I can go to sleep.
Most people don't realize
Y'all
that this is one of the
appreciate it.
healthiest superfood you can eat. This isn't your typical supermarket brand. This is natural catch yellowfin.
A pre-bunking is when you say something casual and then they send out like a full fleet against you to not even actually debunk you, but they're just so extreme in not debunking you that they even lie about what you said. And that lie tends to actually foreshadow something that they don't want you to know. So I'll give you a perfect example. On October 11th, when I infamously tweeted about the Egyptian military plane that left Provo on the morning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, I got the time zone wrong by a couple of hours. And they completely overreacted. I mean, an account that didn't even exist wrote, oh, the time zone is wrong. Next thing you know, it was trending. And they pretended it had been officially debunked just because the departure time was wrong. But that wasn't even enough for them. They were so alarmed. And I was off air at that time, right? I took a 2-week break. They still found something to scandalize when I wasn't even on air, something that I didn't even say. They sent undercover operatives to sign up for my private book club that I kept on Tuesday. And then they took out a clip of that book club, from that book club, and accused me of
Trump.
accusing Erica of murdering her
Let
husband. I mean, they
Epstein's
manufactured that claim out of thin air, and then they made it go viral. They sent it out to all the right people, Steven Crowder, right? Everyone suddenly making videos saying that because I said he was betrayed by everyone, obviously what I meant was Erica Kirk murdered her husband. And this was all happening because I mentioned
Thank
the
you,
Egyptian
Naturally
plane. I am
Norlands.
certain of it. And so that you can look backward and really see how these psychological campaigns work, I want you to watch this clip of Steven Crowder trying to convince people that despite the words that are coming out of my mouth, they shouldn't listen to what I'm saying. He actually knows what I really meant, which is something that I didn't say. And yeah, here it is. Here's that clip.
But you watch this clip in its entirety, and it seems pretty blatant that she's saying, and people are interpreting it this way, which is also important, that the Trump administration, not whatever it was, we went from underground Jew tunnels, Mossad, the Trump administration killed Charlie Kirk.
Just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where
October
we are.
23rd, 2025.
It's a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to
She
politics.
called out
and
Trump.
They just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday.
He what?
Bro.
He what?
Betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock it off. Like, they're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday,
Yeah.
they definitely killed you.
I agree.
No, they killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's how they sign off after they murder you. They're like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on a nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be a nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on the 27th, you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys then.
Well, let me first be tactful here and tell you that outrageous claims, and this is an outrageous claim, require outrageous evidence. Of course, as is par for the course, none has been presented. You know who's really close to President Trump, and you know who people are now saying stood to gain? Well, Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk, who has now been put, Candace, with that language, with this accusation, has put the wife of Charlie Kirk, and she'll say, that's not what I tried to do. It is. It's the result. Erica Kirk in the crosshairs. There's no middle ground here right now. Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
No matter how many times I watch that clip of me talking about Martin Luther King Boulevard and Charlie Kirk Boulevard, I do not get from that Erica Kirk killed her husband, but that's what they went with. Those were talking points that were delivered to them. They were supposed to go out of the gate with that. The question is why, okay? Retrospectively, that was a clue. They were panicking. They were trying to pretend, me saying that everyone betrayed him, which obviously was not about Erica. It also wasn't about Charlie's mother or Charlie's father or Charlie's children.
Well, she
But they were
definitely said
specifically
Trump.
trying to struggle session that into a slight against Erica,
She said
rather
Trump
than more
name.
obviously suggesting that people at Turning Point USA betrayed him, which Erica Kirk was not an employee of leading up to his death. Why were they doing that? Then, of course, that made me only look further into the Egyptian plains, and I discovered that the planes had been tracking Charlie. We showed you guys this,
Yep.
right? We created this document and we organized it SUBND being the blue plane, and
Yep.
then tail number SUBTT being the yellow plane. That seems to have struck even more fear into
Oh,
the
yeah,
nest of
you broke that
mockingbirds.
down.
In fact, they sent Mother Mockingbird out, Ben Shapiro, to make the exact same wild allegation out of thin air that I said something specifically about Erica when I had not. Again, I'll ask the question, why Erica? Why didn't Ben on stage say she accused Mikey or Rob McCoy? I've done multiple episodes now on Mikey McCoy, on Rob McCoy, speaking about Andrew Colvett, Alex Clark. Why did they keep going back to Erica? What is it about these Egyptian planes that were making them spiral? Now, I'm going to let you guys know right now that it is difficult to investigate a matter, especially when it involves a person that you know, because there are minor things that I immediately noticed that were off or unlikely that would not have necessarily alarmed the general public. For example, one of the earliest alarms that went off for me was the fact that Terrell Farnsworth, the guy who takes out the SD cards, was there at all. Okay, Terrell does not do college campus events. He doesn't do that. He's at the top of the company. He does the big events, the SAS, the AmFest. He does not do college events. But of course, he told me they were trying something new that day. And it must have been so new that it was over by the next event after Charlie died because he wasn't there again. So he just, out of the blue, was at this event and then he wasn't, and he secured the SD cards. Okay? It was something that I noticed that the rest of the world would not have taken as a concrete fact. It is also how I felt, and I'm sharing this with you now for a reason, when I learned that Charlie flew into Salt Lake City that morning. Because why didn't he fly into the much closer Provo airport? Now, ostensibly, the answer is
talk too
because
much.
he had an interview
Because they
with
was
a person
pulling them
that nobody really
tax
knows.
papers
He's a managing
on
director
LLCs, and his
of a
wife, Maga,
restaurant fund.
was part of
Andrew
it.
K. Smith, out of nowhere, does this restaurantology interview with Charlie. And so Charlie flew into Salt Lake to make this interview happen. That, to me, felt like an oddity, okay? Because in a typical scenario, Charlie is not going to be incentivized to go out of his way because he would only do it, actually, if there was a big donor on the hook, and maybe that's what he was told, this guy's going to give a ton of money to Turning Point USA, or B, because it was a major political person. Otherwise, for the sake of a podcast, people travel to Charlie, okay? If you want to get Charlie, you're going to travel to Charlie to make that happen. He's not going to go out of his way. To me, the common thing that always happened was they would set up an interview in an empty room at the campus. At UVU campus, they would have had this guy in the corner, and Charlie would have flown into Provo. So I felt, again, didn't share it at this time, that they diverted Charlie Kirk to Salt Lake City for a reason, okay? Something else you should know about Charlie is Charlie was obsessed with planes. My husband and him actually shared this in common, where every time we'd board a plane, Charlie would know exactly, like, way too many facts about the plane. If we were boarded an old American Airlines flight, he'd be like, oh, they actually took these planes out of service in the 1970s. He just had a lot of Snapple facts when it came to planes, something that I just do not dedicate any of my time into learning about. He really liked planes and knowing everything about them. And more crucially, I want you guys to understand this, Charlie had a photographic memory. He did. Donor names, emails, numbers. Charlie Kirk was a walking Excel sheet. He'd walk into a room, he'd say, that's so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. He works for so-and-so, she works for so-and-so. They gave this much last year. That is why he was able to turn Turning Point USA into a successful machine, because of his memory. It was unbelievable. That's all going to be relevant now, okay? So you have to remember that Charlie landed into Salt Lake City at 9:23 a.m. local time. I suspect that if he had instead landed into Provo, he would have recognized the blue Egyptian plane, okay? It's not every day that you see an Egyptian military craft. It is now my well-informed opinion that he would have looked at that plane and he would have recognized the blue plane, and he would have instantly realized that something was amiss. And now I'm going to explain to you very carefully why I suspect that it is highly likely that Charlie would have recognized that plane. Okay, tail number SUBND, the blue plane.
Yeah, she gave the
A
tail
pregnant
number.
mommy sleuth who was locked into this investigation discovered something that me and my team had missed. I consider her, obviously, and all of you to be my decentralized intelligence agents. Anyway, she sent me a rather urgent email, and I'm obviously protecting her identity for reasons that are clear. But I want you to know that this discovery is due entirely to her. She is the person that, in this regard, went max for Charlie when I missed something.
In 1957, Tom Savage began smoking salmon in his backyard,
How did I stop?
starting a tradition rooted in quality and innovation.
Her email stated, in effect, that I was only partially right about the plane tracking Charlie, that she had done an additional 15 hours of research and was able to discern that the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SUBTT, the yellow plane, and SUBND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present, and that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah, and it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I'm telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, all 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica. And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well, okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them? When I was taking all of these figurative online bullets, someone could have easily said something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation.
Because they don't want to give you
I
nothing.
get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, but they allow the lie to flow. Alex Clark lies, I get attacked, I'm telling the truth. Turning Point knows it, but they kind of allow this like Catholic thing, lie to flow. And the influencers are allowed to lie. Nobody at Turning Point ever just steps to clarify that I'm onto something or I'm telling the truth about something. And when it comes to these Egyptian flights, the math on this is indisputable. There is less than a 0.0000000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times. Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie, and I'm telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination. On the day of Charlie's assassination, we know the yellow plane took off in the morning, but the blue plane did not take off in the morning. The blue plane, SUBND, did, however, power on. And I want to be very clear as to what I mean when I say that this plane was on. I am saying that it was transponding, okay? It's transponding at the FBO at Duncan Aviation, a private.
Oh, no, they was embezzling. They was stealing. I mean, that's what Trump do. So, come on now. Yeah. But who all knew? She don't want to say Erica, but Erica was a Trump. She was affiliated
terminal
with
so
Trump.
at the very least,
and her
it powered
daddy.
up the electronics. At most, they fully powered it on and the engine was running. What we know for certain is that it did not move from the FBO. It did not move. It was just on and transponding. And I want you to recognize, I'm going to make it clear for you what are the times that they were transponding. It's 2 times, and I'm going to tell you those times, but first I'm going to have Mark pull this up and he can tell us what it is that what we're looking at here and how we were able to find this information about the jet that was just sitting at the FBO.
Yeah, so it looks like, based on this information that I found, and I had to figure out how to use this website because my mother didn't take enough Tylenol when she was pregnant with me. so I can't get too detailed on it. But essentially, all the flight radar websites only show when the plane is actually in the air. But if the plane is on the ground and transmitting, that data from the ADSB transponder still goes out. So this website, ADSB Exchange, takes that raw data. And so I was able to find it on September 10th. If you look on the very left of the frame, it shows September 10th. And it looks like there's just one data point. But what I did is I zoomed in, and the plane's actually not moving. It's just GPS is a little bit inaccurate when you're this close. But you're able to see all these different times here, and that is the UTC time zone, also known as Zulu time. So subtract 7 hours from that to get Utah time. And so I tracked all of these down, and I was able to find that the plane was transponding from 9:05 a.m. until 10:34 a.m. Then it was off, and then at 12:40 p.m. it came back on and turned off again at 1:29 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that so that everybody understands. We were able to discern from this data as follows. On September 10th, on the day of Charlie's assassination, this plane first transponded from 9:05 a.m. plus 36 seconds until it was turned off at 10:34 a.m. and 5 seconds. Then the plane turned back on, the transponder was turned back on just 17 minutes after Charlie was shot at 12:40 p.m. and 53 seconds, and it stayed on until 1:29 p.m. and 40 seconds. So what was the blue plane doing sitting on the tarmac? We can only imagine what it was doing, okay? We can run a couple of options here. It's possible that they were just running a maintenance check. Duncan Aviation does offer maintenance repairs. It's therefore possible that it just chose to run some maintenance checks at an unfortunate time, okay? Another possibility is that a military jet, particularly one from a foreign country, would likely be equipped with encrypted satellite-based communications capabilities. If you wanted to make an untraceable phone call, as an example, that would be a good place to do so, because only the NSA would be able to intercept that call. And it's pretty obvious that the deep state doesn't seem particularly interested in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So that'd be a safe place to communicate on that plane. Like I said, these are our options. What we can do now, however, is we can add this to our list of verifiable Turning Point USA lies, because I'm going to count this as a lie by severe omission. By keeping your mouth shut and allowing Candace to take all the figurative bullets as she points out the oddity of a plane that you guys recognized, okay? My point is that these planes were known to Turning Point USA, and we all deserve to know why they were on the ground on that day, what they were doing on the ground on that day, and also why Turning Point chose to stay mum when every influencer under the sun and every publication attacked me for even mentioning the planes, making it seem like I was dumb, I was stupid. Turning Point USA is able to provide answers to these questions. There is more that I know, by the way, but I want to challenge them to respond to this first. Were these Egyptian military planes familiar to Charlie Kirk? It is a simple yes or no question. And answer it carefully, please, Andrew Colvett, spokesperson for Turning Point USA. Because there is something very specific, Andrew, that you told me that happened when you arrived into Provo on the tarmac that day, and it is now playing over and over and over again in my mind, and it isn't adding up. Another point that I'd like to follow up with, Andrew Colvett, let's stick with you, is that in the hospital on that day, you told me, you were in the hospital, that you were told that there was a credible threat against me and Tucker Carlson. Specifically, you told me that me and Tucker Carlson were on a list, and that you were just telling me as a friend that me and Tucker should lay low. And after you told me that, I ended our phone call, and I immediately called Tucker Carlson. And I said, hey, terrified, like obviously crying all day, and telling him that he and I have to lay low because there's a credible threat. And it is now really living inside me that you did not tell me who that threat was from. I assumed the feds told you, but I asked you the question, why wouldn't the feds call me directly if there was a threat against my life? No such call has come in. How is that possible? How could someone have told you that there was a credible threat and that me and Tucker Carlson should lay low, and yet me and Tucker have since not been notified by any federal agency about those credible threats? Who do those threats come from? Because I gotta tell you, there are a lot of people making videos about me and Tucker Carlson, and none of them are Egyptians, okay? In fact, it's the Israelis. It is Israel that seems deeply upset with me and Tucker Carlson. They are not letting it go. They are making threats on every stage, okay? People that are tied to Israel are making threats against me and Tucker Carlson, demanding that we be canceled. So who specifically told you in the hospital room that there was a credible threat against my life? I'm going to need that information, okay? I want to know that now. Because the stakes seem pretty high. And I have a lot of questions. This is probably a good time to tell you all that I am starting to piece together another scenario that could have happened. And there was another flight that I am now very interested in. And I believe that somebody somewhere knows something about this flight, so pay attention to this. The tail number is N560TW. N560TW. It departed on the morning of September 10th from Scottsdale, Arizona, and it landed into Provo at 10:06 a.m.
We need
It then
to figure
immediately
out
turned around
who
and departed for
it
Santa
was
Barbara.
at Turning
I'm
Point
assuming it
that
maybe
blocked
picked
the
somebody up,
Arizona Cardinals
and then it
Stadium
departed Santa Barbara
in
at
May
11:37
for
a.m.
September.
for Scottsdale, landing at
Oh, they said
12:44 p.m.
Trump.
There's a chance that
She
you
done
were working
already
at the
fact
airport,
checked
that
that.
you saw somebody that morning.
And
Maybe you were in Santa
Trump
Barbara, maybe you were in Scottsdale. Somebody saw
got
something and
somebody
asking you to email us
to
more
do
tips
it for
at
them
CandaceOwens.com. I am interested in that
at the
flight.
last minute.
We're not done yet.
And
There's more.
somebody else was
I know
already
something else about the
scheduled,
Egyptian flights. This time, another mommy sleuth.
and they
I
allowed them
learned
to
that
switch
oddly,
the dates.
Duncan Aviation, where that plane was transponding from, the FBO in Provo sourced rental cars for these
She did that
quote-unquote
investigation.
Egyptians when they landed a couple of days before this operation. And I didn't just learn that, I actually have the license plates number for 4 of the vehicles that they rented, okay? Honestly, you guys, it brings me great pleasure to deliver this information because now, surely, Tulsi's office can get involved because, those darn Egyptians are at it again. Those darn Egyptians. Here are the 4 license plates of the cars that were rented. The first car rented was a silver 2025 Toyota RAV4. The Utah license plate number is T092ZS. Second car was a white 2025 Toyota Camry. Arizona license plate, CWN-N872. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys this in a spreadsheet. The third car was a white 2023 Toyota RAV4. Utah license plate number TN12KM. The fourth was a black 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Utah license plate number Z923DA. To the students at UVU, do we have this somewhere? Did you pull it up or just did you show them it on the screen? I didn't see what you showed them.
Yes, he showed us.
Okay, cool. License plates were shown. Now to the students at UVU, please check your phones, your pictures from that day, because if any of those cars were seen at UVU or around campus on that day, then we're going to be able to suspect something else. Check hotels, maybe gas station, maybe you work somewhere. Look at those lights, look for those plates during that time frame from when those cars were there until they departed. Somebody will be able to connect it out somewhere. And of course, the email address to send it to is moretips@CandaceOwens.com. It's only Monday, folks.
Yeah,
I've actually discovered a lot more, but it's only Monday. So let's take a break. All right, you guys, too many people have been vilified for standing up for the truth. Obviously, so many people have felt the sting of injustice, but also a lot of people right now are feeling courage. I'm definitely done playing defense. I no longer water down doses of gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and prescription.
You sell it,
It's
we
just so
ship
much.
it. Put the strength of Amazon
And they
behind
all
your
tied to
business.
Trump.
Transparent.
Everything at the same time.
I have no doubt that Tucker Carlson and I are being threatened. That's pretty obvious. It's very obvious that nobody thinks Egypt is behind it. The last time that narrative ran was probably the USS Liberty. That was the plan, right? To make us think Egypt had attacked us. But it wasn't actually Egypt that attacked that ship. It was Israel. Israel attacked that ship. Israel is growing increasingly alarming in terms of legislation that they're trying to get passed, trying to censor our speech, trying to take over social media campaigns. Even Netanyahu's name-checking me and Tucker Carlson, and all of their sycophants are on stage calling us out. So I'm going to connect that dot there. And like I said, there is more I know about those planes. But your move, Turning Point USA, because that's the last time you're going to have me gaslit about something and sit by idly and pretend you know nothing. It's interesting, too, because in a typical scenario, when somebody's murdered in broad daylight and they have a $100 million organization behind them, it's common sense that you should check the people that work at that organization. Like, that's like the first people that you should begin to investigate. So we reject your naval intelligence psychological operation where you tell us that that's a weird thing to do, okay? It's always somebody close to you. If there's a financial motive, yeah. And I would say an organization of that size,
and he said that they was going to try to kill him.
Their tax deadline for the first time, that's a little weird. Yes, they did. A YouTube channel known as Wolves and Finance did a report on this, which I'm going to show. Now, this wasn't the people that I was working with, and there is somebody else that I told you that I'm going to have on my show that has been looking into this for a while. But this was extremely well done and at least brought forth some big questions that I think are on a lot of people's minds. How does an organization that size just miss they filed for an extension and then miss the extension deadline to file? Let's take a listen to a part of what they had to say.
Let's go look at the 990 forms that Turning Point USA submits to the IRS every year. These contain their annual financial statements. When you look at the forms, there are some very strange anomalies. Several of the 990 forms are missing. Turning Point... A YouTube channel known as Wolves and Finance did a report on this, which I'm going to show. Now, this wasn't the people that I was working with, and there is somebody else that I told you that I'm going to have on my show that has been looking into this for a while. But this was extremely well done and at least brought forth some big questions that I think are on a lot of people's minds. How does an organization that size just miss they filed for an extension and then miss the extension deadline to file? Let's take a listen to a part of what they had to say. Let's go look at the 990 forms that Turning Point USA submits to the IRS every year. These contain their annual financial statements. When you look at the forms, there are some very strange anomalies. Several of the 990 forms are missing. Turning Point USA lists 4 related entities. There is Turning Point USA, Turning Point Endowment, Turning Point Action, and America's Turning Point. All different organizations do slightly different things. The Form 990 for fiscal year 2024 is posted for Turning Point USA, but it is missing for all the other 3 organizations. It looks like it was never turned in.
Okay, so who?
This is a massive red flag. So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations. This strange decision to hide their financial statements happened 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered. I will repeat for clarity. Someone at Turning Point decided not to file 3 of the 4 of their annual financial statements 4 months before Charlie Kirk appointed a new COO, requested a new audit, and was murdered. Those
Trump
3
was trying to
financial
put back
statements
some money.
are still missing.
So to be clear, that was another point that they gaslit me on when I told you that it was unusual that 7 days before Charlie died, he said that he wanted to establish Doge, right? Tyler came out and lied, and he said, this is just totally regular. And Alex Clark said, oh, every year since I've been here, this is what we do. And the guy starts this video by being like, you have to be an idiot to accept that as an answer. Of course, doing an audit has nothing to do with internally establishing a Doge, right? He recognized that something was wrong at the organization. And as I told you, okay, because I do not miss on these things, he He was not just concerned about where the money was going, he was concerned about where it was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can tell you
it
about
was
Charlie
Eric
is that if
Trump
Charlie got
a part
pulled
of
into
this?
something, if Charlie was at first trusting his lieutenant and then he suddenly said, wait a second, what's going on over here? And he decided that he wanted to figure something out, he would have figured that ish out by sundown, okay? That is how brilliant he was. If it had his attention,
Was
he would have
Eric
figured it out by sundown. What did Charlie
Trump
discover is my question.
a part
Okay.
of?
Now, to correct something that he says there, he says 4 months before. That's the regular tax deadline. It is actually normal.
Not
It
the
is
extended
for big companies to file for a tax extension, but they missed that deadline as well. I think that was October 15th was a tax extension deadline. They have missed them both, and that is completely abnormal. And he is correct. If you go back and you look at Turning Point USA's filings before, they always file all of them at the same time. So this is unusual that they've left off 3 of them. And I'm going to let him get into a deeper clip here where he discusses the quote unquote missing 8.6 million. Take a listen.
Oh my
Let us look at
goodness.
the one financial statement we do have for
8.6
fiscal
million.
year 2024 for Turning Point USA. Schedule I shows grants and other assistance to organizations, governments, and individuals in the United States. This schedule shows you where Turning Point is sending its money. We see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own shell company. Now, this is not necessarily illegal, except for the fact that the financial statement for the other organization is missing. We cannot see how this $8.6 million is being spent. This is very important because there are strange variances around this money. I have pulled the last 5 years of 990 forms for Turning Point USA. Here is a table with contributions compared with the largest expense, which are the grants from Schedule I. You can immediately see a strange dip between 2022 and 2023. This dip happens because in prior years, they were sending money to Turning Point Endowment. They were transferring millions of dollars. This stopped in 2021, and they started ramping up sending money to America's Turning Point. Let's break this down. First of all, I find it really unethical that they were sending millions of dollars to their own endowment. I know that a lot of nonprofits do
this
this,
same guy right
but
here?
I think it is unethical. Do the donors know this is how Turning Point is spending their money? Turning Point USA is taking in donations and then sending the money to their endowment to invest in the stock market. In my opinion, they should be spending donations on operating their nonprofit, not on buying investments. As of fiscal year 2023, they had $61 million of assets in the endowment, which was generating $1.9 million a year of investment income. Personally, I think that's an unethical way to run a nonprofit, but that's just my opinion. But what is important here is what happened to the missing $8.6 million, the amount sent to America's Turning Point in fiscal year 2024. The amount of money sent to America's Turning Point was getting larger and larger, and because the financial statements are missing, we cannot tell how this money was spent. If we look at the prior year, the majority of the money was spent on other salaries and wages. How is this possible when America's Turning Point reports 0 employees? Does anyone else think that sounds a little suspicious? In my opinion, what I think is happening is I think there are fake people on the payroll. I think that paychecks are getting sent to people who do not really exist. And that would explain why we have a company with 0 employees with millions of dollars of salary expense.
That's
Yeah, that sounds highly suspicious to me,
PPP
especially when
loans.
you add in the fact that Charlie wanted to establish a Doge 7 days before he died, which also adds to the fact that they're all telling strange lies. When you also add in the fact that there is this weird psychological campaign to tell us not to look at Turning Point USA, or we're going to go to hell, essentially. They're like using biblical passage to tell us why it's not moral.
Yeah,
Do they think we are
manipulating with
this
scripture.
soft and persuadable? Like, do we look like the kinds of people that are just going to watch an assassination in broad daylight and just let it go because some influencers insist that we do? No.
I mean, because they really been quiet.
It's not 1963. You're not going to get away with it this time. Anyways, he then goes on to describe how they conducted their own audit using a firm called Baker Tilly. I'll let him take it away.
What about Tyler Boyer's argument that they have an annual financial audit every year? If what I am saying is true, why wouldn't their annual audit catch these issues? The annual financial audit for Turning Point USA, Inc. and its affiliates was performed by an accounting firm called Baker Tilly. In the notes, they explain that they audited Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Endowment, America's Turning Point, and TP USA Merch. That usually means they audited all the show companies when they provided their opinion that the statements present fairly in all material respects. That means it is a clean audit with no problems. I wonder if Baker Tilly will provide an explanation why they can issue a flawless audit.
That sounds highly suspicious to me, especially when you add in the fact that Charlie wanted to establish a Doge 7 days before he died, when you also add in the fact that they're all telling strange lies, when you also add in the fact that there was this weird psychological campaign to tell us not to look at Turning Point USA, or we're going to go to hell, essentially. They're like using biblical passage to tell us why it's not moral. Do they think we are this soft and persuadable? Like, do we look like the kinds of people that are just going to watch an assassination in broad daylight and just let it go because some influencers insist that we do? No, sorry. It's not 1963. You're not going to get away with it this time. Anyways, he then goes on to describe how they conducted their own
the Trumpsters
audits
do
using a firm called Baker Tilly.
in all
I'll
their
let him
businesses.
Take it away.
What about Tyler Boyer's argument that they have an annual financial audit every year? If what I am saying
And the
is
money
true,
was funding,
why wouldn't their annual audit catch these issues?
Probably Israel.
The annual financial audit for Turning Point USA, Inc. and its affiliates was performed by an accounting firm called Baker Tilly. In the notes, they explain that they audited Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Endowment, America's Turning Point, and TP USA Merch. That usually means they audited all the shell companies when they provided their opinion that the statements present fairly in all material respects. That means it is a clean audit with no problems. I wonder if Baker Tilly will provide an explanation why they can issue a flawless audit report when 3 990 forms were never filed with the IRS. And just to clarify, Baker Tilly's audit opinion letter is signed after Turning Point missed the filing date with the IRS. So there is no excuse for Baker Tilly not to mention this in their audit opinion. Erica Kirk assumed the role of CEO of Turning Point USA on September 18th, 2025, 8 days after Charlie Kirk was murdered. She has been the CEO for almost 2 months. She needs to answer these questions. If someone has lied on the 990 form, people go to jail for that.
I'm surprised they don't have somebody inside the IRS.
USA sent $8.6 million
They got somebody
to their shell
everywhere else.
company and then did not file financial statements. And Erica, I don't know who does the accounting at Turning Point, but if they have not been telling you about any of this, you need to fire your accountants immediately.
Wow, y'all please hit the like
All
button.
valid points, and again, just to modify, it
Oh,
is possible
absolutely.
that when they used that outside auditor, that they showed them
Oh, good
all the
morning.
documentation, and then they gave them a clean bill of health, and then for whatever reason, Turning Point decided not to
Where
file.
are you, Anna?
It's possible, okay? Like I said, probably a low probability, but it is plausible that they did that. But it is just a fact that they missed the filing extension deadline. So
Twice.
what's going on here? Where did the 8.5 million go? And what's also compelling about this video, which we didn't show, is that he clarifies that Turning Point USA actually decreased their staff, the 501c3 arm, 33%, by 33%. So there was a 33% staff reduction, and yet the cost of salaries somehow went up. And to him, that looks suspicious. And I
And
agree.
when did
that looks suspicious,
Ron
right?
McCoy
And
get
this,
added?
of course, is the kind of pressure that needs to be put on them. Yes, I said it was a very bad idea right off the bat for Erica, who's grieving her husband, to then instantly become a chairman and a CEO, because these are valid questions now that people are asking. And a chairman and a CEO is going to have to respond to those questions. You have to answer these questions when people are asking about money, especially given the fact that so many people, I mean, they cleared over $70 million in the first couple of weeks after Charlie was assassinated. Okay, that's a lot of well-meaning people that
Right.
are giving money to this organization who are now learning how this organization functions by routing the bulk of their money, or to a lot of their money rather, not the bulk of it, into their endowment fund, right? That is not okay.
Oh,
We deserve
cypress.
answers
Okay.
to the questions that we are asking, and we're going to keep asking them. Okay, we are going to keep asking them because I know there are snakes at Turning Point USA,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to reveal more to you guys tomorrow. First, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with some comments and answers to your
Oh,
questions.
wow.
All right, you guys, in all the time that I've been endorsing my wireless company, Pure Talk, I've never seen an offer / Owens. Okay, I got a text from one of my friends that says, slight detail, but in September, don't forget, there was a daylight saving time switch. So to calculate the time that we said on Charlie's assassination, it was UTC -6, not -7. So for those times, you're going to adjust them 1 hour forward, just to make that clear, because that will be the headline on X.
Charlie White's
She didn't calculate
mother
that right. It's a different
and Mike
hour
and
because of
them
daylight
was
saving
getting
time.
money.
Okay, I got to get into a couple of things. First and foremost, if you would like to continue to
It's a
support
lot that was
us,
getting
you
money
can
under
buy our
the
book, Make Him a
LLC.
Sandwich, at makehimasandwich.com, and we have them up now, the signed copies by me, CandaceOwens.com, signed copies. Also, we have new merch on the website, plus our Black Friday sale is going on right now. If you use code BLACK20, you'll
I'm
get
trying
20%
to
off
understand what Eric
store-wide.
is doing.
So where did this so-called blood come from? That was apparently all over Mikey, because it wasn't when he got shot and it wasn't at the hospital. The channel it's on is Coach Collins' channel, who has been doing some really great content daily on Charlie. Okay, I will say I did not vet that information. Obviously, we, no matter what, pull the top comment from a previous episode. I did see something going around on TikTok, and I can try to reach out to that person. But it's an eyewitness account until we have actual proof. It's basically their word versus his word. So we'd have to see something to be able to verify that. But everyone, by the way, I want to say to all the YouTubers, even if you're making small mistakes, the way that this works is they want to make you feel insecure. They want to make you feel dumb, stupid, and ugly for thinking. And you have to find within yourself the confidence to keep going, right? Because you are watching how they tried to. It was so sinister, the way they have been attacking me from the
I'm
second
gonna break him
that
down.
Charlie got shot, and trying to make us think that we're crazy for recognizing that everything is wrong about this day. That's a psychological campaign. That is what the war is nowadays. And I want to just encourage all the YouTubers and all the mommy sleuths. This is Project Mommy
crazy.
Sleuth, really, to keep going, to keep sending us emails. And we are going to solve this thing. The Decentralized Intelligence Agency is going to solve this thing. And like I said, when I tell you what I know tomorrow, it's just, we're getting somewhere, you guys. We are getting somewhere. One day at a time, we are getting somewhere. Okay, what else do we have? We have a comment from the Paleo Rides. Right, hi Candace, I know you are on the right track. I've been watching daily and I was active on X, well, until I called out Israeli propaganda, and then I was
Taking
permanently
over people's
suspended.
property.
I had to drive from Arizona to X headquarters in Texas to ask for a review, and finally won my freedom 2 weeks ago. They are bigly
No
mad.
rain
Yeah,
because it hinders
they are
the
definitely
radar.
running an operation on X. It's obviously military bots. Like I said, they boast. If I make one mistake, it's like a trending topic for 3 days. And then when I drop truth, they're like, she's never dropped one fact. And I'm like, we have so many timelines. It's like crazy to say that we have not dropped any facts. Okay, well, that's like so beyond insane to try to suggest that we have not dropped facts when we have been the ones breaking virtually every story on this.
And they don't want
and of
you
course,
to.
credit to all the other people on X who have been doing the same thing.
They
Ricardo
don't
McKenna
want you to.
writes, because I know we are completely and unconditionally loved and everything will be okay, it sucks that we are losing real human beings to their games. Keep searching for truth. Yeah, we're stumbling upon it. U.S. flagpole guy writes, Mommy Max for the wrong side of the tracks, doing David stuff with her truth acts with class. You got me rapping out here. Thank you for that donation. Friendly Fairy writes, we all need a friend like you, sending love from Australia. Thank you for
Sure
saying
do.
that. Natalie writes, Candace, my heart is beating so fast. This is insane. Your
Sure
strength
do,
is so
everybody.
inspiring, and we have your back. Let's effing go. I know you guys have my back, and I also know that Charlie has my back, because Charlie always had my back, and I always had his. And like I said, he knew that I'd be the one to defend him, and I would stand up to all of these clowns and all of these people who pretend to be pastors and pretend to be biblical and pretend that they're doing
they're
this out of like
pedos. I
some
hope her
moral
husband
authority. You are the worst
is really
human beings in the
supporting
entire
her.
world. Seriously, to hide behind a Bible,
Yep.
like that makes me angrier than anything else for some reason. Like to pretend that
'Cause you
somebody
playing with God.
pursuing truth when their friend is assassinated is some kind of an immorality or a quote unquote evil makes me sick. It literally makes me sick. The nerve of these people, the things that they did. But I will respect them in one regard. They knew that the first thing they had to do was, when I was in my grief stage, was to try to pretend Charlie and I didn't even have a relationship, because they knew that I would be the one. They knew I was the anomaly. They knew I had already said F the money. They knew I had already said F the reputation. I don't care about the headlines. And because they tried to incentivize me with all of these things before. They knew that I would be the one to burn it to the ground and see what came from the ashes, rather than to side with a lie. So credit to them for recognizing that I'm built different. New Life Plan writes, I was today years old when I learned that anyone can FOIA all flock license plate cameras, locations, and data points. Now you know too. What? Is this a thing? Can you FOIA all flock license? What's a flock license plate camera?
Okay, I don't know what a white nationalist is. I don't get involved in that. But I don't like the fact that you put white nationalist. I mean, so it has some racist undertone. So it is just, my responsibility to correct that everybody's black. White people are black. Black is in your DNA. They say, what they say? And you have any percentage of black in you, you black. We are the originators. So, yeah, a Plazo, you need to be careful. I'm not going to allow your message to be seen, but I need for you to educate yourself. You are black. White is black. White people came from black people. Black people didn't come from white people. White people came from black people. Okay. So whatever racist comment that you try to say about someone, understand you are calling yourself that a racist comment because you come from black. Okay. And if you want to call somebody the N-word, that means that you are the N-word too. You're just a lighter shade of it. Okay? Do your homework. Y'all kill me thinking y'all the smartest. Acting like y'all done forgot that they whitewashed the truth. You black, baby. Welcome. Welcome to the black side. Welcome to the black side. High five. Yeah.
A little bit about that off air. There's a network run by a company called Flock of automated license plate readers that are dotted throughout pretty much every town in the United States.
Let's go.
So I looked up the locations. There are some somewhat near UVU as well. So we'll see if we can FOIA that information.
Effing go. Yes. I don't know how I missed that earlier. That is great.
No, she's a black one.
I know the feds are trying to cover everything. More tips at CandaceOwens.com. We have to be fast.
You need to understand you are black. You're black. Yeah, you're black. She's black. There is no white. So, there is no white. White is black. You understand? You understand? You come from black people. So she just black. Okay. Okay. So I left them with a little something. Yeah.
Smarter than them, smarter than them. Somebody saw something. You have the license plate numbers. Let's go. Calvinist writes, amazing work. We deserved answers and Charlie deserves justice. He's going to get it. He is going to get it. This deep state operation ain't it. Zamet writes, Candace, go Mac. Charlie is watching. He is. Beth writes, Israel had a chokehold on America since JFK. Yeah. Trump couldn't have predicted this awakening. Couldn't he flip? He should resent the Zionist mafia for blackmail. Trump is old. Might investments matter less than legacy or his soul? I don't have to assign anything to Trump. I know that if I was at the end of my life, like in my 80s, as he is in his 80s, I would be caring deeply about the state of my soul.
I would too.
I don't know what's motivating him. I really don't know what's motivating him, or rather,
But that's
what's not
why he
motivating
say he
him
know
to
he
get to the
not
bottom
he
of this.
ain't nothing
When
he could
the
do to make it
entire
into
world knows
heaven.
that what we've been told is BS. Why is not Trump? Why isn't Trump calling me like on the side and we're like, let's figure this thing out because Charlie loves Trump. So it really tells you that
But
politics.
he
politics is
never
fickle.
loved Charlie.
You know? So you shouldn't have a lot of
He
friends
was
in
using
politics.
him.
And Booch writes,
That's
have
why
you
I'm
seen the new
asking
Sean Ryan
about
with the
Eric.
security detail that took care of Charlie? Do you feel they are trying to push their narrative? We love you, Candace, and we're praying for you always. I have not seen it yet, but I intend to watch it, and I will give feedback on it this week without question. It's on my to-do list. Emma White writes, Candace, I run ops for a nonprofit. Baker Tilly also is the company that files their 990s per the first page. Their audits are not considered valid. A separate company has to do an independent audit. Okay, very interesting that you're saying that. Again, we're reading comments live, so this is allegedly a Baker Tilly, don't come after me. But yeah, that video went deeper into some lawsuits that Baker Tilly was facing for not auditing things correctly. Now, that could be commonplace if you are an auditing firm. Maybe
But who
it's
would
normal
use
for auditing
that?
firms to be sued. I don't know. That is not an industry that I'm familiar with.
And who would have
GAZF25
trusted
writes,
that?
I'm 38 years old and never in my life has a journalist been this transparent with Americans, the youth of the nation. This is the way forward. Candace Owens journalism is the new standard. We are pioneering something. And we definitely are. It's never been done like this. No one has ever decentralized the intelligence. No one has ever asked for help. And I don't think there's ever been a person that has cared more, that has been standing against evil people, who was leading the investigation. I don't think that's ever happened. I think we're making history. We may not be here when it's celebrated, but we're making history, and what we do today actually does matter. I know that. And I don't care what any of these people say. I was clear. I was explicit when I said that I want war with all of you. Anybody that's lying is going to get exposed. I told you I felt it spiritually. Charlie told me he was betrayed in a dream. They laughed at me. They mocked at me. Well, who's laughing now? We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, because she ain't backing down. She is not blacking. Oh, wow. Hold on. She is not backing down at all. Good for you, Anna. Good for you. Yeah. They say he snapped. Let's hear him snap.
In Republican districts,
No. Is this the episode with the breakdown?
He losing it, y'all.
Y'all need Realtor.com.
I'm trying to figure
with over
out
500,000
if he-
new listings every month.
and if there's one man who respects the law,
If he wanted,
Donald.
if he was gonna sign it and okay with it,
Trump
why
wants
was he?
all the Epstein info out in the open. Unfortunately, there's still some legal hurdles standing in his way.
Yeah.
But if there's one man who respects the law, it's Donald.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
right.
just another day.
Why does he still have legal hurdles? I thought he wanted
Greed.
it.
It is a terrible trait.
He
Never
was
being
such a liar.
satisfied, truly unbecoming. And Donald Trump cannot stand it when others refuse to be content.
We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all.
That's right. And that's what's also so glaring about this endless Epstein hoax. Those folks hung around with this disgusting pedophile billionaire. Trump did not. He was usually at home, cozied up with a good book.
Why was he
volunteering in
at
a
your
soup
wedding?
kitchen, or down in the lab trying to cure cancer.
Why
Unlike
was he
those
at your
other
wedding?
scumbags who saw no problem partying the night away with a serial rapist. But again, everyone is clamoring for the release of these files, and for Trump, it feels like he's been here before.
Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough.
Hey, don't apologize for lumping
Why
Epstein
was
in with
he
those
at
guys.
your
He is in
wedding?
the same category. I mean, he had a dream too, albeit a slightly different dream, and he asked what people could do for, well, not their country, and I suppose he
Why
wasn't
was
asking.
he at your
The point
wedding?
is, they are all major figures in American history, and Trump is more than happy to give people whatever they want here.
Can
as long
somebody
as it means
ask
we can
him
all
why
just
was he
move on
at
already.
your wedding?
I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the
Give it
Senate
to
look
us.
at it, let anybody look at it, but don't talk about it too much because honestly,
Don't talk
I don't
about it
want
too
to
much.
take it away from us. It's really a
Don't talk
Democrat
about it too
problem.
much.
The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And
So-
it's a
so we
hoax,
can't
a
talk
hoax,
about
a
it?
hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time.
Yes, what a tragedy.
But
it
don't
would be
talk
to have
about
a
it.
distraction from all these Republican
Don't
accomplishments.
don't throw it back
if we
up in
keep
my
talking
face.
about
Don't
Epstein,
don't
people will forget that they're
look
paying
over
more for
my
their
name.
groceries,
I mean,
their
what?
healthcare premiums are about to skyrocket, and their president fought tooth and nail to deny food assistance to 42 million Americans. You see, the last thing Donald Trump wants is to have this whole Epstein thing drag out forever and pull focus. But sadly, that's what some Republicans in the House are trying to do.
Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it
Hey,
because
Thea.
fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party.
First off, that is not why people call Thomas Massey Rand Paul Jr. The reason they do that is because Massey copies every single look his elder Kentuckian friend sports. First, it was the nerdy guy with glasses. Then Rand goes for a cool dad with a beard look. And what do you know? Here comes Massey, who suddenly forgot to shave for a month. Then Rand decides he wants to get a small tattoo to show he's still got some rebel in him. And looky here, it's really pathetic. But the reason that Congressman Massey has become persona non grata in MAGA land is because he has the audacity to want to expose those who partied with or enabled a sex trafficking rapist. And apparently, in Republican districts, taking such a controversial stance can hurt you.
I would remind my Republican colleagues who are deciding how to vote,
UK
Donald
in the
Trump can
House.
protect you in red districts right now by giving you an endorsement, but in 2030, he's not going to be the president, and you will have voted to protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files, and the president can't protect you then.
Can we just let that sink in for a minute? Thomas Massey is correct that at some point, regardless of what Donald Trump's hats may say, he will no longer be the president, which means he won't be around to protect vulnerable Republicans who voted to protect a pedophile. This is the difficult moral quandary, the
Yeah, I thought I
Sophie's
saw
choice
Cyprus
the
by
GOP finds
Egypt.
themselves in. And look, the fact that Donald Trump is saying that he wants all the Epstein files released should give everyone pause, because this is also a man who always has multiple tricks up his sleeve.
Awesome.
Has he been talking to his Republican minions in the Senate, telling them to not even bring it up for a vote?
If the Epstein measure passes the House, will it get a vote in the Senate?
It'll come to the Senate. We'll take a look at it. If it passes the House, we'll see what it says.
Yeah, who knows what it could possibly say? On one hand, it could
But I
simply
thought
be a
Trump-
piece of legislation
Trump
demanding
said
the release of the
pass
Epstein
it.
files. But on the other hand, it might have a small provision tucked into it requiring every member of the GOP to stab themselves in the dick. And no one wants that.
Oh yeah, Trump
Right?
want that.
But sorry,
He want
maybe
that
I
pickle.
missed something. Surely Senator Barrasso would advocate
Oh
for this
yeah,
bill
that's
getting an up
easy
or down
sucking,
vote.
ain't it? Get
Right?
that juice up out of
Senator,
there.
you don't commit to holding a vote if the Epstein measure passes in the House? Just very quickly, we're almost out of time.
Well, but what I've said and what
It's
what
Picklegate,
Senate
baby.
Leader Thune has said is we'll look at it, we'll look at what's come over. I don't even know that it's going to pass the House. The Senate will make a decision, we'll have a discussion about it and make a decision from there.
Translation?
Trump will
Not
suck that
looking
juice
good.
up out of there.
Senator Barrasso is dangling the prospect of an Epstein vote the same way Logan Roy talked about stepping down. No, I'd love to hand over the company to one of you lovely kids. It's just, we'll have to look at all the materials, have a nice conversation, at which point I'll just tell you all to fuck off. Look, at least we know the president won't do anything rash. I mean, he is a politician playing politics, but it's not like he's going to send American troops to die overseas for the sole purpose of distracting us.
Mr. President, are you planning on also potentially launching strikes in Mexico, or putting American troops or American personnel into Mexico to deal with drugs?
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me.
Wow, you rarely hear such an upbeat tone when it comes to waging war on America's largest trading partner. Hey, who has two thumbs and can use it to launch bombs south of the border? This guy. When Trump got elected, there was a total mandate to release the Epstein files. His base, who put him in the White House, was clamoring for it. And not only did he not
He
do
don't
it,
care.
he hung those folks out to dry.
The influencers are standing there with these binders. They didn't even know they were there for Epstein, and they looked foolish through no fault of their own.
Yeah, they looked foolish through no fault of their own, as opposed to...
He wasn't into, like, 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were.
That's pedo.
Can you imagine how much more embarrassing that would have been if it came in binder form? Whatever happens, it is crucial to remember that Donald Trump is not some partner in transparency. He is an impediment to it. And all the proof you need is that Donald Trump could release the files today. No discharge petition, no vote in the Senate. I mean, the guy doesn't even have to get on the phone.
Okay, so why are they not talking about the kids that
Lincoln bathroom and hang a sign in
he
the window that
settled
says,
with?
"I'm shitting, release the files," and it would get done. But
They brought
now,
up-
for some reason, Trump feels hemmed in by laws.
pedo
This is a guy
charges
who doesn't
against
hesitate
him.
to
It
send
ain't like he
military
don't
into
have
American
those
cities.
charges with
Does it
Epstein.
that night when he wants to shred the Constitution and end birthright citizenship, and will blow up
They
any
were both
shipping
in a
vessel he
lawsuit
wants in the
together.
Caribbean by just claiming it was a drug boat. But all of a sudden, he feels besieged by the rule of law. For Trump, laws are merely minor inconveniences along the way to doing what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. You know, the same way his best friend used to look at reluctant teenagers as minor inconveniences. So when it comes to this president's desire for complete transparency on the Epstein files...
It's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax.
Exactly.
But why did he say that? Clinton was in the Clinton was in there then.
More and support independent media, please
I mean,
subscribe.
so why did he say that's a real problem for Clinton and Andrew? If it's a hoax. Now, who quit today? Somebody quit on live. It's a lot going on, baby. It's a lot going on. Who quit? Somebody quit on Fox today. A lot going on. A lot of moving parts. Who quit? Fox host. Who are you? I don't know this person. It's a lot of clickbait.
Inadvertently admitted far more than he realized.
Hold on.
I think we could have a deluge of Republicans. There could be 100 or more. I'm hoping to get a veto-proof majority on this
Can y'all hit the
legislation when it
like
comes
button?
up for a vote. And
hey,
you know,
Southern
the president's
Queen.
been saying this is a hoax. He's been saying that for months. Well, he's just now decided to investigate a hoax, if it's a hoax. And I have another concern about these investigations that he's announced. If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
I mean, it is extraordinary to hear him demand an investigation and only mention
If I were a loyal MAGA foot soldier trying to shield a scandal-ridden boss, I'd be out there parroting the line. Donald Trump wants the Epstein files released.
Legal
and that's
AF
exactly the narrative Republicans have been desperately pushing all week, pretending Trump has transformed
They can't bring
into
that back
some
up.
crusader
They've
for
already
transparency.
said
But let's be clear.
that there was nothing
This
else
is
there for
deliberate
no third
misdirection.
parties to be
Trump
charged.
isn't calling for full transparency. He's demanding selective disclosure. He only
quit,
wants the
though?
files released if they damage Democrats or his political rivals. Never anything that exposes him or the circle of powerful allies he's spent years protecting. Democrats aren't interested in that partisan sleight of hand. We want everything released. Every name.
Every name.
Every connection. Every powerful figure held to account.
That is
No
not what he
exceptions.
was expecting.
Meanwhile, the MAGA orbit keeps recycling the same dishonest spin. And the latest to fumble the script is Trump's own attorney, who inadvertently...
I've asked nicely. I'm not going to ask again. Double tap the face of your phone or leave. Double tap or leave. Stop coming in here and not wanting to double tap the face of your phone or hit the like, the 3 dots at the top. It's the 3 dots at the top right. Hit the thumbs up. But get the likes up. It's 445 people in here. He is such a trifling man. I'm sure he is this. I don't know how neither of his wives put up with him. And I do mean neither. Ugh. Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's still some more y'all that need to leave if y'all not going to hit the like button. He blew out his throat. He can't even talk. He was screaming. And the vote is tomorrow. Now, who is this right here? I'm gonna have to. Von Trina Harvey, 12 minutes ago, you ignorant. I don't know who you talking to. You're betraying God. Now what? How am I betraying God? You so slow. Let me see. Let me see. Let's see what you look like. Von Trina Ventriloquist. Yeah. Come on, now what? Hey, you so stupid. Your mama should have did better. Your mama should have did better. Where you at, girl? Where you hiding? Come out, wherever you are. Y'all, I'm not moving until y'all get them likes up. There you go. Now, how can I see you and you back here? Uh-huh. Girl, let me see you. I figured you was a troll. You better not show your face. You better not show your face. Yeah. Von Tisha, Von Trina. You don't even know who you are. Von Trina. Yeah. You better run. You better hide. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better have fake names and fake pages. Yeah, you better. Yeah. Anybody can talk their noise and run and hide. Yeah. Yeah, you bet not show your face. Cause I was show coming. I was show coming to see. Von Trina one place, Von Treese another. Yeah, you better run. You better hide. You better. Yeah, you better know who you playing with. Yeah, your mama failed you. Yeah. You running behind a whole PDFer. A whole PDFer. And you happy about it. Yeah. You gonna find a way to justify that, ain't you? Bun Stupa. Let me see. Let me see something. Let me see something. Let me see something. Von Trina, Von Treese. All these fake names. You better leave me alone. Y'all get the likes up. I'm finna go. Oh. Oh. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Girl, I know good and dang well. You not this moose. Is this you, Moose Face? Is this you, Moose Face? I know it ain't. It better not be. It better not be. Is this you, girl? Is this you, Moose Face? Girl, go. Yeah, you better go play with something safe. She tried to tell me about how God feels about me. Yeah, Von Treese. Yeah, girl. Von Trina. Girl, I know good and damn well. That ain't you. Girl, you too easy to be found. Yeah, you girl. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get the likes up so I can go. You better stay a troll. You better, like I said, you better stay a troll. You too easily to be found for you to be talking noise. Yeah. Now, I don't know why you think that it's best for you to be okay with pedos and you got kids, boys and girls. That ain't safe and that ain't cute. But that may be what you're used to. That may be the life that you live. I don't know. Yeah, but something sick about it to me. And I don't like folk who pacify. What did this one do? Pedos. Oh no. Okay, y'all finna get ready to go. Y'all, it's taking y'all too long to get my likes up. What was I watching? Yeah, these folk kill me trying to come in up under my comments because they mad for me telling the truth. And why are you, baby, loving on? And y'all, she done went through several of them. One of them she under Von Trina, and another one she's under Von Treese. Okay, you looking for me? I'm looking for you. Now what? Now what? Von Stupa. Von Stupa. Where was I? It's y'all fault. Cause see, I'd have been we'd have been. And why did they say Fox host quit on live as Trump's lawyer? Oh, it's on further down. Let me see. Hey,
Certainly
Brian.
admitted far more than he realized.
Hey.
We'll get into that stunning moment in just a bit. But first, Here's what Senator Chris Murphy had to say about Trump's latest Epstein falsehood, because his warning frames exactly what's at stake here.
On Epstein, the president is now demanding, or has demanded, that the Attorney General, the Justice Department investigate his political opponents. And Pam Bondi responded by basically saying, yes, sir, and moving in that direction. What do you make of that?
Well, it's both heartbreaking and totally unsurprising. The Department of Justice has just become a protection racket for Donald Trump and a witch hunt operation against his political opponents. This is why our democracy is in such peril right now, is that for the first time in our history, the Department of Justice operates in order to try to punish and lock up anybody that criticizes Donald Trump. I'm really proud of the work that Representative Massey has done in the House of Representatives, along with Ro Khanna. And yes, John Thune should bring that vote to the Senate floor as soon as it passes the House of Representatives. It's true that Donald Trump is trying to cover up for, I think, a host of really powerful and rich people, but he's frankly not that selfless. He wouldn't be going through all of this effort to try to stop the release of these files if he wasn't seriously implicated in those files. This is most likely the biggest corruption scandal in the history of the country. We know that because Donald Trump is going to these extraordinary lengths to stop these files from coming out. The Senate should take this vote. I think it'll be likely another big bipartisan vote, and I'm grateful to our House colleagues for sending it our way.
He certainly is going.
Donald Trump is now crafting a fresh narrative around the Epstein scandal, insisting he's ordering the DOJ to get to work and release select files about select individuals under highly controlled terms and timing. But seasoned observers immediately caught the subtext. By announcing a new investigation, the DOJ can conveniently invoke that inquiry as a pretext to withhold all Epstein documents. It's not just plausible, it fits seamlessly with Trump's long-standing playbook of weaponized delay and selective transparency. Simultaneously, Trump is attempting to redirect the spotlight toward figures like Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton, as if the entire Epstein orbit involved everyone but him.
Resigned
Yet
today.
in trying to deflect blame,
That Larry Summers guy resigned from his, I think it was Harvard.
Simultaneously, Trump is attempting to redirect the spotlight toward figures like Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton, as if the entire Epstein orbit involved everyone but him. Yet in trying to deflect blame,
he was under Clinton
unintentionally
administration.
reinforces the core reality. Epstein moved within circles of immense wealth, influence, and political power. That's precisely why the public deserves full disclosure, not the strategically edited version Trump hopes to.
I wonder how did he know about Larry, because Larry is under Clinton administration, and he resigned today from his, I think he worked at Harvard. He want everybody. Boy, I think I need for you to put some lip gloss on your lips. Now, I know you know that you can't have all that salt off of that pickle and not putting nothing on your lips. I think you need to put on a little lip gloss with a little rouge in it, a little rosy, and then you won't have to wear all that makeup. You know what I'm saying? Just put a little lipstick on. Lip gloss with a little color. Yeah. Use a headhunter. Yeah.
Engineer. Rep underscored this
Hey,
uncomfortable
Victoria.
truth when he publicly challenged Trump. Context that becomes even more damning when viewed alongside what Trump's own attorney inadvertently revealed on Fox News. A slip that left the host visibly rattled.
I think we could have a deluge of Republicans. There could be 100 or more. I'm hoping to get a veto-proof majority on this legislation when it comes up for a vote. And, the president's been saying this is a hoax. He's been saying that for months. Well, he's just now decided to investigate a hoax, if it's a hoax. And I have another concern about these investigations that he's announced. If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
I mean, it is extraordinary to hear him demand an investigation and only mention Democrats.
If Donald Trump genuinely believes the Epstein files are a hoax, and if he's instructing his MAGA surrogates to amplify that talking point, then why is he simultaneously attacking Bill Clinton? Why is he suddenly demanding a new investigation? And why is he scrambling to reactivate the DOJ if, by his own account, the case was already resolved? Trump has insisted for months that Pam Bondi had handled everything connected to Epstein. Kash Patel repeated the same script. Case closed, nothing left to review. Nothing
That's
left
gonna
to
get
review,
him.
nothing left to uncover.
That right
so
there.
What changed? Is there evidence they overlooked? Information they withheld? Details the public was never allowed to see? That's precisely what Trump and Bondi are now insinuating. And more critically, it's what Trump's attorney, formally the Deputy Attorney General, but functionally his former personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, admitted on Fox News. In trying to defend Trump,
Tia, he could have
confirmed that additional
ordered that
evidence
today.
does exist, leaving the Fox host visibly
what are you waiting
rattled by
on?
what he had just revealed.
Look, President Trump has said the same thing since the campaign trail about Jeffrey Epstein, which is that he has nothing to hide.
Okay, but
and
then
the Department
sign
of
it.
Justice has never disputed that. And so what we have done, what we have been doing since January 20th, is a thorough investigation. A thorough investigation of everything that we have. We issued a memo in July about that, and President Trump directed us on Friday to continue to look at that, which we're happy to do. This Department of Justice has done more than
This
really
is the
any
line
administration
is
in recent memory to combat sex trafficking, to combat any kind of abuses against children, against young women. And so there's nothing we have to hide when it comes to that. And so when President Trump tells us to investigate it, we welcome it with open arms, and we'll obviously do that. That's what we've been doing. But look, the Epstein files, the Epstein investigation is something that has gone on for over a decade, and there's nobody.
Which one of them quit?
There's nobody that wants to make sure that we deal with that more than President Trump, more than Attorney General Bondi, Director Patel, myself, and that's what we're going to do. And so that's when President Trump said that on Friday, that's nothing different than we're going to do anyway. And so we're going to continue to find out if there's anybody responsible, anybody that hasn't been held accountable, and if they're out there, we'll find them.
Yeah, I think most Americans would say the fact it has been going on for more than a decade, and it seems like nobody's left to prosecute or bring charges against. They can't seem to find evidence is what's concerning to people.
Todd Blanche effectively exposed the entire operation in that single clip. The very
Why is
detail
he
he
saying
tried to
that there's
glide
nobody to
past was the
prosecute?
one that revealed everything. In tiptoeing around his phrasing, he inadvertently said the quiet part out loud. Blanche referenced that July report, the same one Pam Bondi waved
Left to prosecute or bring charges against. They can't seem to find evidence is what's concerning to people.
Todd Blanche effectively exposed the entire operation in that single clip. The very detail he tried to glide past was the one that revealed everything. In tiptoeing around his phrasing, he inadvertently said the quiet part out loud. Blanche referenced that July report, the same one Pam Bondi waved around to insist case closed. Nothing relevant here. Move along. Yet now, those same officials claim they are reviewing relevant evidence.
But who quit
So
today?
which version is true? Did the evidence never exist? Was it ignored? Or was it deliberately left untouched from the beginning?
Deliberately.
And why exactly were more than 1,000 FBI agents assigned to this case? Critics have long argued that their real task under Trump wasn't to uncover the full scope of Epstein's
Just to
network,
remove his name.
but to sift through every document, every clip, every photograph and flag, anything that mentioned Donald Trump. Then bury it. That was the priority. Blanche's slip only reinforced that suspicion, he admitted. Whether intentionally or not, that additional evidence exists, evidence that was never properly reviewed. In plain terms, the investigation was halted before it reached the people it needed to reach. And as Rep. Thomas Massie has repeatedly suggested, Trump wasn't merely shielding himself. He was insulating an entire constellation of wealthy, influential men who benefited from the same impunity Epstein leveraged for decades. The abuse wasn't fully investigated because there was never a genuine plan to investigate it.
Facts.
That's why the Fox host responded with such visible shock. She couldn't reconcile a decade of stagnation. But the truth is that something did happen under Joe Biden's administration. Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted and
246
convicted.
hidden what?
She now
up
serves
there?
her sentence in a comparatively cushioned environment funded by taxpayers, even as ordinary Americans struggle. But at the very least, it was real accountability. Under Trump,
Plus the
no such
victims are
pursuit
taxpayers, so
materialized.
they paying for it
Instead,
too.
the process stalled, and according to Blanche's own admission, key evidence was never followed through. The fact that the investigation is now being restarted is itself an indictment of how shallow the first review was. Everyone understands what the priority inside Trump's dossier truly was. Identify anything that implicated Trump and suppress it. Blanche, intentionally or not, confirmed exactly that. So when the Fox host expressed disbelief that there had been no breakthroughs, she inadvertently answered her own question. They didn't find anything because they refused to look, until Trump found it politically advantageous to redirect blame elsewhere. Blanche tried to downplay the implications, but his comments made one thing unmistakably clear. The only area this renewed investigation will avoid is anything that touches Donald Trump. Everything else is fair game. That's why the people around Trump appear so deferential, so willing to contort themselves. They were never hired to act independently. They were hired to protect him. It's unsettling, but it's the
Wow.
reality. We know exactly who these officials answer to
Oh, okay.
and what interests they defend. And that is why voices like Rep. Rokana are indispensable. They refuse to let this orchestrated silence stand unchallenged.
And there are thousands of victims, and rich and powerful men still have buildings named
Wow.
after them, scholarships named after them. This is not partisan. They all need to be held accountable.
buildings
The
named
Epstein
after
class
them.
needs to go.
How many Republicans are going to join you? Could you have a veto-proof majority?
Well, I was hoping that, and then Donald Trump started to tweet out saying that he's going to unendorse people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it's basically Massey and me versus the White House. I mean, they're calling members to the Situation Room. But you know why Trump is losing his MAGA base on this? The reason he's losing it is he ran saying there's a corrupt governing elite that has shafted you. That this is the Epstein class was the forgotten Americans, and I'm going to stand up for forgotten Americans. He's forgotten those forgotten Americans. And we are saying that we are going to stand up for survivors, for America's kids, and we're going to hold this class accountable.
Roe has been using the phrase the Epstein class frequently, and it couldn't be more fitting. It perfectly describes the insulated network of wealthy, influential men who moved in Epstein's orbit, and who, under Donald Trump's administration, escaped any meaningful scrutiny.
Him and them.
Trump's DOJ and FBI didn't simply avoid investigating Trump. They sidestepped every powerful figure
Him
who stood
and
to be
them.
implicated by a real examination of Epstein's operations. That wasn't an accident. Protecting that elite circle was the mission. Pursuing the truth was never the objective. But we're not letting them memory. Hold this. We will continue exposing every attempt to dodge accountability, every deflection, every carefully crafted distraction. If
Okay,
you want
so
to
how
support
you
that
can?
effort, hit
Okay,
the subscribe.
so do you think that Trump's kids and his wives and stuff should be deported? Since you Carrie, since you believe in the border control, do you believe that his wife, all of them, I mean, their kids and grandkids need to be deported? I mean, because to say that you support the border, what did you say, border control means that you think that he should be deported and everybody else, not if he was born. But his border control, he said that the kids would have to go with the parents. If they came over illegally and had kids here, then they should be deported because the parents came over illegally. That's about the birthright. So how can you separate one without the other? Because he's saying that it's the birthright. If the parent came over here illegally and had you, you got to go back. You got to go with your parent. So that's not how he has it set up. So now you want to pick bits of it. That's not what he said. He said that if your parents came over illegally and you were born here, you have to go back because of your birthright. You follow your birthright. You were born here illegally. You were born here illegally. And you need to go back. Because your parents didn't enter here legally. I mean, all I'm saying is a lot of people would have to leave, including Trump. Including Trump. Okay. I mean, good for you. I'm just trying to understand the logic. I mean, because if your parents came over illegally and your mom had you in the United States and she got deported, should they leave the baby here by itself? Who? No, the kids will have to go with the parent, right? And now they're just stopping people. If you look like you're not supposed to was born here, you're being taken into custody and sent to foreign places. He's not going. He don't want to house you in the jails and in the and if you were born in the U.S., where they gonna send you? He's gonna traffic you. I mean, I hope y'all understand that this is really more about trafficking for him. So when he just ups and send people to foreign places to become slaves and tortured and ate and put in brothels, that's what he's doing. Y'all do know that, right? He's keeping the Epstein thing going on when he's sending these people to foreign places. It's still a cover-up. I mean, because y'all do know if it was really about keeping immigrants out when he was in office before, he didn't put them out. Why? Why? If it's always been an issue with him, why he didn't put them out before? So right now, he's trafficking right in the U.S. face with taxpayers' money. Absolutely, Sly. And even if you was born here, you will be classified as undocumented. Yeah. So he will have it set up where you don't have no information. Nobody will know where you are. Nobody will ever be able to find you. And yeah, and then they'll be drinking your blood and chopping your body up and serving you at McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's. Because that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Oh, now they're Zionists, Thea. They're Zionists. And they do blood sacrifices. They sleep with one another. That's why he was eating on Bill Clinton's pickle. And they ape kids. Yeah, you do your own research, Clive. I show my tea sippers stuff all the time. You not gonna come over here and work me. You ain't never supported me. Why would I do your homework for you? You better do your own homework. You prove it to yourself. We know. The hell is wrong with you? You must think I'm a slave for you. You crazy as hell. Do your research. It ain't far removed. Yeah. Why else would he be sending 600 kids on a military plane to a foreign country? No parents, no supervision, and the judge had to stop him trying to do it in the middle of the night. Why? Why? Where are you gonna send them? So you got 600 kids and you just gonna have a military plane, take them in the middle of nowhere in a foreign country, let them off the plane for what? And do what? Yeah, he said to be tortured. It came out of his mouth. So you do your own homework. Thank you, Thea. I am not trying to prove nothing to somebody who hell bent on playing dumb. Yeah, but people need to be careful. You need to be careful what you're okay with corrupt politicians. You better be careful because they are grabbing anybody. Yeah, there have been people who have had birth certificates and identification and still been detained. They U.S. citizens and was still detained. You better be careful. Yeah. You don't know who you gonna piss off one day, and you'll get caught up and mixed up in some shit, and your ass never be found again, and you would have been okay with it. He break the law? What are you talking about, Greg? You sound slow. He got 34 felonies, and he's the president of the United States. What are you talking about? There are people he is pardoning that are have broke the law. What are you talking about? Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty. He moved her to a very minimum. She could get out on work release. What are you talking about? And the victims that they victimized are paying taxes, and he sent her to a prison. Now she ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash. Greg, you sound slow. You ain't done no research. You just talking. You one of them type people just like hearing yourself talk. It's talking about if you break the law, you get punished. Yeah, but he got 34 felonies. Absolutely should not. Can't nobody else be a president with one felony. It's this cabinet and his affiliations with foreign countries is the reason why he's there. they have a whole organized crime with human trafficking, drugs, and gold. Not drugs. Well, maybe drugs, guns, and gold. They stealing. Yeah. That's my whole point. That's why the border control is not really for border control. If it was about border control, he was in office before Biden. Who did he put out? He lied and said he was going to put up a wall and pay for it. When did he do that? Now he's taking them to foreign places. That's why he's blowing. That's the real reason he's blowing up the boats in Venezuela. He was working on deals with them. He had a deal with them. He gave them back some gang members that should have been prosecuted here. What you give them back to Venezuela for? And then you started sending people to Venezuela, and they didn't know what to do with them. I mean, y'all really need to stay woke. and again, it was only until Venezuela told the truth that Trump sent them there. They didn't know what to do with them. And y'all could come in. We could send them back if you want them. Trump said that it was out of his control. He lied. And once the officials in Venezuela did not back his lie, he started blowing up the boats. And he don't know who in the boat, what they doing. And a few of them wasn't even heading our way. So what you blow them up for? Because you mad, you're punishing them because they told on you, and they would no longer allow you to send people over to Venezuela. Yeah, he blowing them up. And I think one of the people were, a couple of them were like regular people fishing. Yeah. Wasn't even heading our way. What you blowing them up for? Yeah. He on some evil stuff. I don't know. Yeah, he just blowing them up. I mean, how you know that they got drugs? I mean, who is the intelligence? Where you get that from? They were just law-abiding people. Absolutely. So no, I'm not down with anything that he has going on, because in my mind right now, it has an ulterior motive, and it's corruption. And he's doing it right in front of our face because he can. And he be making deals. And I just don't trust him. And I know he's trafficking. The whole administration should be charged. I agree. That blind lady, I agree. Every last one of them. And, you know, he'll be gone, or maybe not even alive. I don't know. But and they will be brought up on charges. And this time, unless he pardoned them before, and he won't even be able to pardon them. And then they're going to be stuck like Chuck. I don't know who a blue hair Septune ring cycle. I don't know. I know that they are pedos, and I know that they have a whole organization. They be eating on people, and they prefer kids, and and that's not cool with me. And they be drinking the blood, and taking the bodies to a butcher, I think is what they said, to be grinded up. And McDonald's is one of the people that they are in business with. Hold on, let me find it for you. Because I think you think I'm playing. And I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm finna get ready to go to bed. Let me find one. Let me find one. Let me see. What does this one say? Oh, wait, what was that? Hold on, what was that? Dang. So the Freemasons headquarters is in Hemet, California.
It's sort of a form of predictive programming, but the idea is that these groups, these satanic occult groups, have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it in some form of ritualistic cleansing of their guilt. That by telling you what they're going to do, they therefore can do it with impunity. This is an aspect of the ritualistic process. You have to let people know by signs or symbols. I think what it has to do with is, as we know, abuse or control of an individual or a small group like a cult or a nation. You can use the same techniques to a person as you can to a nation. And it has to do with getting the person to go along with their own abuse, to be a participant in their own abuse. And by getting the person that you're abusing and you're controlling to think that they're actually responsible for it, think that it's their fault, then they become an accomplice as well as a victim to you. And it makes your control that much more solid. So the method of control for humanity is to get the person that you're trying to control to agree to and co-sign their own abuse. It's about morally being immune from blowback by getting your victim to go along with your exploitation and abuse. If I tell you I'm going to do this and you don't stop me, it's your fault.
This is 1968 on BBC. This is a year before the fake moon landing. King told everybody. This is called Newsbenders from 1968.
Fake moon landing.
This wasn't made by a bunch of truthers. This is the BBC. Told you this. And you still did it.
You're going to make this happen. No. We're going to make models much cheaper than you're supposed to have the models. Fake news reels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake news reels and listening to our fake comments. And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days. How long has this been going on? Since Hiroshima. And the H-bomb, you mean, that doesn't work either? Right. Dirty. Very, very dirty. What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief. You say you can put out what pictures you like on television. Doesn't anybody try to stop you? Well, nobody wants to. 99.386% of the population wouldn't believe this conversation. And the rest are working for us. Politicians are easy to control. The grosser mentality boys who like to be photographed getting in and out of stables in Whitehall, they come right at the bottom of our organization.
It's sort of a form of predictive programming, but the idea is that these groups, these satanic occult groups, have...
Oh, there go that spy. This is that Israel. Let me see what this one say. This is when he made it home from the U.S. after Bibi Netanyahu. He kissing his feet. Hold on.
ברגע מרגש נורא שיונתן ואסתר בבית, חזרו הביתה, כמה טוב שהם באו הביתה. We are ecstatic to be home at last after 35 years. And we thank the people and the Prime Minister of Israel for bringing us home.
U.S.-born man spent years in prison for spying on America for Israel.
ברגע מרגש נורא שיונתן ואסתר בבית, חזרו הביתה, כמה טוב שהם באו הביתה. We are ecstatic.
No, you are. Let me find that one. You know, that Rothschild got, what is it? One of these Rothschilds look like one of them reptilians. I'm going to be mindful now.
History, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations,
Zionist,
submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement.
Oh, where did it go? He was talking about
in modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question.
So that means that
primarily.
So that means that this fake Israel, 1948, when Rothschilds was granted by the cabinet Israel, it came in Zion as it has Zionism, but under the Zionists. So they came in satanic. They were granted Israel. Oh, they call sleeping cells. The Orange and his family are ones, and the guy in Texas. And that guy in Texas that's from Canada who always leaves during the storm. Oh, Ted Cruz, who say that he's gonna run for president 2028. So my point is, when they got this fake Israel, when they were granted it in 1948, they were already a cult. They were already, a cult. Let me say that.
A movement from Eastern Europe. But they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was after all in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here. And I wonder if I could possibly ask you to read it for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm going to put on my spectacles to make sure I read it accurately. His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours, Arthur Balfour.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years to get to this. And then you say, how did this miracle happen? It's the most incredible piece of opportunism. I mean, if you think you had an...
You made up, Greg. You're a sleeper cell. I thought I put you out. How you come back? I mean, leave if you don't want to be here.
He has such great charm.
I'm not going to debate with you. That's not why we're here. We're here to obtain knowledge, not to sit here and go back and forth. So go ahead and remove yourself, okay? Respectfully. Go play with yourself.
For Jews should be allowed to take place. I mean, it's so unlikely. And then he's,
I mean, Kim Jong-un can make up stuff. I mean, you said anyone can make up stuff. Kim can too. You can too.
In the end, it comes out as a rather compromise.
I mean, they got a declaration. So what are you talking about?
The Jewish community to fasten on to. You have the first bit, which
what are you talking about?
National home rather than the national home. And then you have the bit that nothing that's to be done should in any way harm the Arab community. But you come back to the big point, which is that this is perhaps the greatest event in Jewish life for thousands of years. And it's a miracle.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it?
Let me find where they some tea. Let's hear this though. So let's hear this. Oh no, I don't wanna hear that. United States. I'm trying to find it. The black eye stuff scared me. That black eye stuff. Okay, let me find this one and so I can go to sleep. I'm sleeping. Let me see. Because I got it marked as a vampire. What is it? MK Ultra stuff. Hold on. Dear Russell. Hi, Poppy J. I didn't think it was this far up. Oh, this man right here from Israel threatened us. I'm glad
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed, and anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall, because we cannot afford.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West or get rid of them politically through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree to back Israel's war against Iran?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country. What do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down. Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office. And all the sympathizers with terrorists like yourself, we don't want them even to be in our country.
Who is we, and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel? Tell me how you're bringing them down.
I already answered you that.
Are you going to murder them, or are you going to bribe them? Or are you going to bribe someone else?
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall. Because we cannot afford.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West or get rid of them politically through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree to back Israel's war against Iran?
Look how he looking.
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
You will not work for them anymore.
No, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country. What do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down. Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office.
No, he's serious. He's serious, Poppy J.
Like yourself, we don't want them even to be in our country.
Who is we, and
remember Israel, Bibi Netanyahu tried to get Charlie to come to Israel. He wasn't going to leave Israel. When Bibi Netanyahu last asked him.
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall. Because we cannot afford.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder?
And look here, Pierce is just sitting there. He ain't saying nothing.
Bribery or whatever else. What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree to back Israel's war against Iran?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country. What do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down.
Have the right to bring them up.
Agree with Ayatollah. We don't want
Y'all remember earlier I asked y'all who do y'all think who do y'all think influenced Trump to make it about face? He do look evil. I asked y'all earlier today, who do y'all think? Who runs the U.S.? Yeah, do y'all think that the Republicans, MAGA, influenced Trump to make an about face? Or do we think it's Israel?
Who is we and how are you bringing like them down? Yourself, we don't
Who's
want
we
them
and how are you bringing them down?
Terrorists like yourself.
Who is we and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel? Tell me how you're bringing them down.
I already answered you that.
Are you going to murder them or are you going to bribe them? Or are you going to bribe someone else?
The Iranian nuclear program
I just need for y'all to stay woke.
And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall.
So I wonder who made Trump lose his voice today. He said he was screaming and hollering and on a foreign phone call. Bruh got a biker jacket on. I'm sorry. It just something. Yeah, he got it on. Mm-hmm.
We cannot afford.
Hold on. Did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West or get rid of them politically through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will
Y'all
fall
hit the like button.
if
I'm
they don't
past my
agree
bedtime.
to back Israel's war against Iran?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country. What do you mean the politicians will fall?
Yeah, but they can vote to keep you alive, vote to unalive you. He said, we ain't gonna vote for y'all no more. Vote for them anymore.
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down.
To bring them up and bring them down. Bring them up and bring them down. Sly, yes you do. Yes you do. Yeah, you do. Y'all hear that? He have the right to bring them up and bring them down. Again, earlier, I asked you, y'all, who do you think put him in office? And he's a convicted felon. And smile, and then he cuts it short. I be, ooh.
Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office.
We don't want them in office. What office? He talking about the U.S., y'all. Do you not understand? He talking about the U.S. We can bring them up and we can bring them down. We won't vote for them anymore. Are y'all listening? Wow.
And all the sympathizers with terrorists like
them down?
yourself, we don't want them even to be in our country.
Who is we and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel? Tell me how you're bringing them down.
I already answered you that.
Are you going to murder them or are you going to bribe
I've already answered you that. Why you keep asking me? I've told you.
Are you going to bribe someone up?
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall.
So if they are politicians in the West.
Because we cannot afford.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder
politicians in the West or get rid of them politically through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree to back Israel's war against Iran?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country.
Yes, he do.
What do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down. Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office. And all the sympathizers...
We don't want them in office. What office? What office? We don't want them in office. What you talking about in the United States?
With how are you bringing like them down? Yourself, we don't want them even to be in our country.
Who is we, and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel? Tell me how you're bringing them down.
I already answered you that.
Are you going to murder them, or are you going to bribe them? Or are you going to bribe someone else?
The Iranian nuclear program.
Y'all, ooh, yeah. I'm glad I was looking for that blood thing. Ooh, wee. I forgot I had that. Oh, I forgot I had that. Mm-mm-mm. 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 He meant that.
So many of these celebrities are using satanic symbols and are basically into pedophilia, into child snuffing, into drinking blood, and they think it makes them something special, when in fact they're merely, war criminals. Mike Pence has been an enabler and cover-upper of pedophilia at the highest levels of the Republican Party, as has Reince Priebus. This is going to destroy the Republican Party. But remember, the Republican and Democratic Party are the establishment. They're
elite
part of the
agenda.
Servant class supporting the 1% cabal. We need to start nationalizing the central banks, and we need to stop borrowing money, which is unconstitutional. The Rothschilds have been banned from Russia and the Philippines. Those are the only two countries that have banned them. One of the things I tell people is we need to close all 1,000 military bases around the world because they're not there for military power projection. They're there so that CIA has a lily pad through which to smuggle gold, guns, cash, drugs, and small children for the elite. And I think we should also eliminate the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a pimp for the horrors of war. Enough already. So many of these
small children, I told y'all. Where's the blood at? So I can go to sleep. I didn't think it was. What are these on my Bill Gates?
And then we have another crazy billionaire, Bill Gates, says, there's too many of us. His thing by 2030 is to depopulate the planet. And I just wondered, are we part of the population that he wants to There's too many of us. And he says it. And people go, it's a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy theory. He said it. Bill Gates, you go and see on YouTube. He says one of the goals by 2030 is to lower the population of the planet. And one of the ways to do that is using vaccines. It's like, what? And people go, no, that's a conspiracy theory. So he said it. You can go see. He said, yeah, but it's a conspiracy theory to think, he meant what he said. He meant it.
He said
He's
it.
doing it. And it's working.
Yeah.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare,
a really good job,
we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
And then we have another crazy billionaire, Bill Gates, says...
Where's the blood? Okay, I'm trying to get to that satanic stuff. I didn't think it was that far up.
keep telling y'all, if y'all continue to eat from these fast food restaurants, you're going to mess around and be sick for the rest of your life. I just saw a video where a woman is saying that in Germany, they found out that McDonald's was selling human meat for 7 months without anybody knowing. And you won't even believe how they found out. One of the workers that was working at McDonald's found someone's wedding band, an engraved wedding band in the meat. You heard what I just said? They were serving human meat in McDonald's, and guess why? Because the manager wanted to cut the cost. He felt like he was spending too much money and not making enough money. So he went with the cheaper option. So basically, they found a meat wholesaler that was selling cheap meat. But of course, the cheap meat was human meat. So they...
I'm so glad I don't eat meat. I'm trying to find the one. I thought I had it marked. I know I put vampire. It's just blowing my mind. Everything that these cult people are doing. It is just, oh my God. Oh my God. I just, I could have sworn I marked it as vampire. Is this it? Is this one of them? Let's hear.
Vril means they are lizards. We see the Vril Society. The Nazis were part of the Vril Society. Forget that Nazis, they don't actually exist. They're just all Vril. They're no different than the American government now, every other government now. They are reptilian demons. They're not human. They don't have a soul like we do. It's one of the reasons they hate us. They are the descendants of Cain.
Thank you, Poppy J. Man, okay, hold on. I think I came up on one. Hold on. Taxpayers' money. Yeah, they doing some crazy stuff. Keep dropping that fire. I plan on it. I want us to be prepared. And I want when necessary that light bulb to come off. You be like, oh, AunTeaFee, I know what they talking about. Cause AunTeaFee, yeah, I just keep hearing words from back in the day. It said, "Don't let my sheep go astray." Yeah, we up against evil, pure evil. Let's see if this one says it.
The devil, let's say if the devil comes to you, right? And so I'll give you $100 million, but I want you to turn your back on God. Would you turn your back on God, or will you take that $100 million?
You know, in Hollywood and in the industry and the stuff we do, there's a lot of like insider secrets to keeping your career going.
I'm telling you facts. Hear it. This industry is not what it seems to be. Listen, this is a rapper, you got 200 followers. I bet you there's rappers in here right now that can rap way better than you. You can rap way better than me. You will never be where I'm at because this industry is rigged. It's rigged.
Everything else is crap. I promise you.
I believe that I had to become a famous, idea.
Yeah.
And get all the stuff that people dream about and accomplish a bunch of things that that look like success.
Everything around us that we call life was made up by people that are no smarter than you.
And it looks great. I mean, it looks great when you got a cool car and you got nice clothes and and you've done something that people admire, but it can never fulfill you. You can never be happy. You know what I mean? It's not where happiness comes from.
I so badly want to be Catherine Hudson that I don't even want to look like Katy Perry anymore sometimes.
Okay.
The whole idea of celebrity and fame has become really convoluted.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
Yeah, well, sometimes they don't want to, and they're, Gaga, we can't get, the frequency's weird, and, it's sounding a little bit strange, and I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear, Lucifer, I'm gonna...
Did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you. Now, figure that out. Talking about I sold my soul for you. For all you motherfuckers that's on here, that's asking me did I sell my soul, why the fuck is y'all on here if y'all think I sold my soul? Y'all coming right with me, you dummies.
I've seen so many people forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. It's really not worth it.
In the music industry, it's still very much this exploitative thing. It's still very much people signing their life away, the old deal with the devil stuff. That is still going on. It's unbelievable in this day and age that is
Deals
still
with the
going
devil.
on.
So one night I was in my home studio, and it had to be like 8 to 10 people off in there. And we had beats and stuff playing in the background and everything. That's how we used to do it, everybody doing what they do, smoking, drinking and everything. And actually, it came down to it that dudes actually started being used by demonic spirits. And these spirits started speaking through them, Devils started speaking through them, talking to me, asking me, if I was going to sell my soul, telling me what I needed to do to take my career to the next level in darkness. I mean, dudes actually came up to me holding wads of money, saying, man, don't you want to make all this money?
You stupid bitch. You talking about my beads. Devil worshiping beads. Cool. You hear me? But if you're a Christian, your Bible says you're supposed to love God, your neighbor as yourself, and your enemy. So you're commanded to love me if I want to serve the devil. Are you a hypocrite?
A rapper kicks a female fan in the chest hard at a Polk County nightclub, and controversial video of the incident is blowing up online. Holly Bounds joins us now live from Lakeland outside Rumors nightclub. Holly?
Well, good evening to you, Jen. About 400 fans piled in here Friday night to see rapper Kevin Gates, but one who made it to the front row walked away in pain and headed to the hospital. A starstruck fan struck by the star himself. This video getting a forceful kick from rapper Kevin Gates Friday.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it,
Made a bargain with the devil.
I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
The devil. Let's see if the devil
Wow. How do you, oh my God, how do you make a deal with the devil? Oh. I really didn't think it was this wildflower messed us up. I didn't think it was this far up. How do you, and you made a deal with the devil. Wow. Maybe it's expired. You won't believe. Code. I'm trying to find one where they telling you what they do. I'm trying to find it. Is this one? I may have to human protein. Y'all up there eating McDonald's and Burger King. Wendy's. Y'all eating a missing child from a milk carton. I can't believe I can't find one. Any other time I'd have been at Wolf Child. Oh wow, I can't believe that. Investors. I'm having a hard time. Any other time, Trump list. Oh yeah, them babies. I mean, I can't find one. This is blowing my mind. Hijacking. What is this one? Y'all, any other time. You ain't lying. What y'all talking about? I just joined my friend, but can you keep it playing, please? I'm trying to find one so y'all can hear what that satanic stuff. Breaking in. Oh, man. I just didn't think it was this far up. Poppy, thank you. That shares the truth. What's the truth? Let's see. AIDS spread through vaccine. Yeah, they passing that virus through the vaccine. Y'all do know that. That AID. Chicken. I cannot believe I cannot find the vampire. I know it's not this far up. Let me see what this is. Let me see. Let's talk about transgender. Okay.
I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV. Well, I disrespect you for that. You do? I do. But it's a lot of big.
Y'all finna go to sleep.
Don't we deserve to know? You took it. I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that. Really? I'm sorry. You took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film, and you did. Did you have an understanding when you went in there? No. Did you crash it? Yes. Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it? No, they put them up after. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do. What about
Thank you, Mrs. Narlins.
Sir, everything.
Y'all see that? That's a big old statue that they worshiping. That they sacrificing.
This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you. And goodbye. It's none of your damn business. Oh, that's right. Listen. You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate.
Bohemian Grove.
If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it. I'm the guy that blew it wide open.
You got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I just respect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But there's a lot of big public officials going in there.
Yeah, that's that Bohemian Grove.
I don't know anything about you.
But I'm trying to find one where they drinking that blood.
By releasing that film, and I don't respect.
That's what made me research a Bohemian Grove. I'm trying to find one where they telling you that they eat that them kids.
I fought with the devil.
Oh no.
Got down on his level.
Yeah, they was screaming. Somebody was being sacrificed. Let me take you to a sacrifice. Then I'm gonna go to bed. Let me take you to a sacrifice. I see now. I'm gonna take you on to a sacrifice. I'm gonna take you on to a sacrifice. Oh, who really owns America? That's where I stopped at. Who really owns America? I'll leave that there.
Mike Campbell here, Patriot Software's founder. My first successful startup was in the basement of a factory. But prior to that...
I'm trying to see if this is the one we looked at before. I want to see one I ain't never seen.
In the U.S., Occupy protesters have descended on a quiet California redwood retreat, where some of the world's elite gather every year. Demonstrators say the 2 weeks, officially portrayed as a time of rest and relaxation, is really a chance to discuss...
Okay, let's do this.
Hang on a second. Walter Cronkite's voice is in an owl?
Is the owl. It's a 40-foot owl.
That's where they bring the sacrifice of a child. Right here. Yeah, and they be bringing, sacrifice. The altar.
It's huge. It's out.
So one of them little kids that Trump was trying to traffic, they will be taken to the altar for slaughter. A long time ago, it was a type of, was it black people though?
Every dog breed has unique needs. That's why Royal
Can y'all hear me now?
is tailored to meet them.
The redwood tree canopy is so thick the place might as well be covered by a concrete dome. The first piece of the grove was bought in 1899.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna have to put a back screen back up. I don't think y'all gonna be able. I don't think y'all gonna be able to see it. Y'all can hear.
A woodlands preservation group recently paid
Let me see if there's another one.
land that was nearby. That would place
Oh, y'all just want to hear? Let me see.
$15 million.
Cause I gotta put a backdrop. Hold on.
Good to see you. Scott. You can't take a look? No. You should divulge the secrets of the confession.
I don't know when it cut. Oh wow! I gotta let y'all see this. I gotta let y'all. Oh my God. Okay, okay. As y'all know, I can't let y'all. I can't stay on there long. They'll cut it off. Hold on.
How far would those people go?
Oh, so we done seen a big owl, right? Okay. Oh, okay, so how can I, let me see. Okay, y'all saw the big owl. That's a sacrifice.
blasphemous. Because this ain't your average sports talk, all right? Only on Sirius XM.
Over the past 20 years,
It's a
L'Oreal
cult,
Paris has
Kevin.
honored 200 women of worth
But
for
that's what's going
lifting
on in
their...
the U.S. right now. It's a
We're in
cult.
California.
Wish I would.
This is a hot flash. This
Would y'all
is
go
a
up
not
in there?
flash. This
Where
is
the
a hot flash.
I know you didn't
This
leave me,
is
Sly
not.
Brown.
If you have
I
hot
know
flashes
you
and
didn't
night
leave
sweats
me,
due to
and I'm up here
menopause,
waiting.
ask
I know good and dang well you
The
didn't leave
Bohemian
me.
Club didn't become exclusive just by being secretive.
You didn't see the little
In fact,
girl
I'm
laying
fascinated
down
by all the people who are members. This membership
in
list
front
is
of the big old
closely
owl
held
for
and very
sacrifice?
few people have access to it.
Oh,
But you know why they call
I'm
this show
through with you.
Decoded? Because we actually managed to get the list through an anonymous source. And it reveals quite a bit about the makeup of the club.
Oh, wait, no what?
The Bohemian Club didn't become
A
exclusive
little
just by
girl.
being secretive.
Where? You talking about here or under the White House? It said your end was stopped. Yeah, temporarily. Yeah, because of the I said give me a minute. It only happens for a minute. That's why I got to keep a backup. It's 2:00 in the morning. How dare you leave me? I think Clinton was in office. When you left, Clinton. Are you kidding me? No, I know. When it went off, they was at that diner, and the lady was telling them. I know where it was, but that was way up here. They done tried to sneak in since then. Oh yeah, you talking about they was at the diner. Oh, you legally deaf. Boy, you yeah. You talking about up here. That's where it was. When they nipped me. I'm not. They got
The Grove is among the most well.
Yeah, we went through that earlier today.
And its location is no
1948.
The redwood tree canopy is so thick the place might as well be covered by a concrete
Yeah,
dome.
Epstein. Yeah.
The first piece of the Grove was bought in 1899, and it was
Zionists,
made up of
devil
160
worshiping.
acres at the beginning. By the 1960s, Bohemian Grove had grown to the 2,700
Baby farms.
acres it is today. So,
Human trafficking. I keep
A
trying to
woodlands
tell
preservation
people
group
that's
recently-
why Trump wants to do the immigrants and send them to foreign places. Foreign places to be tortured and unalive. And then what they do is drain the blood. They use the blood and take the body to a butcher where they grind it with ground meat and sell it to the McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. That's their vendors. Rothschilds is who was granted Israel. Israel was granted to the Rothschilds. And Rothschilds have the banks. The IRS, the government, is the Rothschilds. Yeah, they are the mob, the mafia, the taxing. That's the Rothschilds. I think the Rockefellers is more of the banking, but yeah. So that's fake Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and all that. That's the that was created in 1948, and they were granted Israel, and they sacrifice. That's a part of their ritual. And they meet the elite meet up once a year. It used to be Bohemian Grove. They freak on each other. and they do. No more sneaking a picture. No more sneaking pictures. No more taking the secret to the devil, dumbass. What you mean? Maybe she one of them. I don't know.
Space, I kind
That's why I keep cutting her
I
off.
want in. I want to see how it feels.
So, how are we going to get in there? It turns out I've reconnoitered an alternate route down the Russian River that gets us directly to a swimming hole bordering.
What's going on in the White House, Sin?
Property. So I think we can take boats,
The
paddle our
Epstein
way
stuff,
right to the fringes of the Bohemian
the
Grove,
elite
and see what we
devil
can find out.
worshippers,
I like that. We couldn't do it by land. Let's try it.
presidents,
Absolutely, I'm game.
vice presidents, cabinet lead officials, foreign countries, prime ministers. I guess Epstein was trying to do his own Bohemian Grove. This is
The secretive Bohemian
Trump.
Club is among America's most
Trump
exclusive.
them, Republicans,
Say yes to this ride-on golf cart.
Bushes, Clinton.
And for larger vehicles, Sam's Club roadside assistance. Yeah, hi, I'm on the corner of...
It's been going on longer than 55. You said Mississippi. It's in California. I don't know. It's too late for me to be. They said
You
California.
can see it from that one observation point, right?
Oh, this is it?
Yep. Okay, everybody ease up. Everybody ease up.
Yeah, Walter
Let's go to left, buddy. Left.
Cronkite is the name. Is the Al's voice.
Why aren't we going to?
Yeah, they've been doing this in California
Listen, I don't
for
see
years.
the no trespassing sign, so I don't think we're doing anything wrong by landing these boats right now.
Talking about you don't think you doing anything wrong, but you sneaking on devil's grounds. These people are crazy. That's Alex Jones. That's him right there. The thick dude that done snuck in there before.
So at
Yeah,
this point, the
that's
only
him right
since
here.
There's no lifeguard on duty. We're fine with that. Here's the deal with the no trespassing sign. If you
That's
didn't
Alex
see
Jones
it,
right
It's
here.
not posted properly. So if you end up going up over here and you didn't see it, you didn't see it. Did you see it?
I don't see.
That's him.